Oh, yeah. Morning, everybody. Everybody's in a great mood. Happy Friday to you, Ben and Woods, on 97.3 The Fan. It is Friday, April 21st, and while this month is kind of flying by, the week has been a little bit draggy, but we made it. We made it to Friday, and we have two victories in a row to celebrate, certainly. Certainly feel much better coming in here this morning after another dub last night, and we'll talk about all of it. We'll talk about the return of the King. We'll talk about some catching woes and
By
all.
the King, you mean Trent Grisham?
Trent Grisham. Yeah. Yes, indeed, I do. But yeah, just great to be here with you on a really nice Victory Friday. I'm Woodsy. That is Paul Reindl. He is our executive producer. Morning, Paulie.
Good morning.
Paulie had his first adult league basketball game last night. I want a full breakdown. Now, I wonder if you'll catch the same blowback that I get for even mentioning adult baseball. If you mention
you're
adult
going to get
basketball,
the blowback because I wasn't going to bring it up. You brought it up.
So how will I
Like,
get the blowback? I'm interested.
You're the only one.
I'm interested in your passions.
Well,
okay?
it was a 1-point game at the half. Like, literally nobody cares.
I care.
As an Aztec, did you sit a little load management? You want to be fresh for later
No,
in the season of the playoffs?
Paulie played.
Oh, you did play.
I
Okay.
played.
I want see. That's the thing is, I'm interested. I'm interested in it. I'm interested in how Ben played golf. Like I'm interested in my friends' passions. Right? I very much am. So I do want to hear about it. I'm not joking.
Okay.
I want like a full breakdown. Benjamin Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, is here. Good morning, Benjamin.
Good morning. I noticed since we have the stream going up and I can see myself on the television up there that I'm wearing a different we're a Grand Old Barbecue show, and I got my Franklin barbecue hat. But
It's a good move.
I will say,
You should get your Dodgers sweatshirt out of the car.
I will say that I think this shows that I know what good barbecue is because Franklin barbecue is awesome, and so is Grand Old. So
They're also in Texas.
they're in Austin, Texas. It's not a direct competition. I just, quality barbecue is quality barbecue.
It's true. It's true.
Quality brisket is quality brisket.
We do love you, Grand Old Barbecue. So I wanted to take a quick moment as, the president of the Tier 1s and just thank them and the audience. Crazy. You guys are incredible. And I'll be honest with you. We talked to our boss, Adam, after the show yesterday when he called us back to his cube and just showed us some stuff and some numbers and just kind of how the show's doing. And I'll be 100% honest with you guys. It freaks me out a little bit. I've never been.
We're swirling the drain. What's going on?
No.
Oh, good.
No, freaked out in the other way. I've never
Like, there's no rhyme or reason for a sports show being
Right.
as successful as we are right now.
correct. And I'll tell you,
It's like-
it's instead of being driving home with the windows down like Jerry Maguire when he signs Kush or didn't sign Kush, got the verbal on Kush. Instead of driving home, I'm free falling. It was more driving home with no sound on, staring dead ahead down the road, thinking to myself, oh man, I've never been this professionally successful before, and I am freaking out a little bit. That being said, I'd rather have it that way than the other. So
Right.
please continue to listen. Please continue to spread the word of Ben and
Tell your
Woods.
friends.
Tell your friends.
The Tier 1s are, you're amazing out there. I am blown away.
Ben, it's staggering.
I walked into Trader Joe's yesterday to do a little shopping. I'm not 2 steps in. One of the guys at Trader Joe's yells from across the way, "Oh, I love the show this morning. It's Gavin Scredder." Going, I don't know who you are, but I'm glad you enjoyed the show. Thank you very much for listening. We
There
appreciate
were
that.
2 things that freaked me out a little bit yesterday. One of them was looking at what our listenership looked like a year ago to what it was this year was staggering. Like
like you're like, whoa.
We have grown so much,
Yeah.
and that's crazy. And then we also, on our YouTube channel, we got a comment yesterday from a guy who said, what's up, guys? I've never heard you before. I've never heard you on the radio or your podcast, but when you came on YouTube, that's when I found you. I don't really listen to the radio or TV much. YouTube's where I get most of my content. Love the show. And I'm like, in this day and age of social media, we've been around, we've been on
5 years.
over the air terrestrial radio for over 5 years now, and there's still people out there that, this is, they're going to find you anywhere they can.
Yeah. It's just important to
And we got to
spread
remember that.
to spread out
Yeah.
a little bit. And and so I just wanted to thank you. I this is a life that I never imagined ever, and only fantasized about in my wildest dreams. So I just am blown away. I'm like freaked out by it. And then in typical fashion, we were brought down to earth yesterday by one guy who did the contact us, sent it into Adam. Now I never would have known about it until Adam sent it to all three of us in the middle of the show. And it says, his name is Paul.
Not me.
Not you. I should give his phone number out, but I'm not going to because I'm not petty. I mean, I am petty, but I'm not that petty.
You're the pettiest person I know.
Here we go.
True story.
Do we have music, Paul, that you can put behind this? I will read. I want to keep us humble. It's important to stay humble. Just anything. Just a little music as I read Paul's comment.
Paul, this is a very difficult decision for Paul. Sad violins. What are we going with?
What are we
here?
going
I'm
with?
going for it. So I gotta find it.
It's all right.
Maybe some upbeat jazz.
Yeah, maybe.
I just have that.
Something
I have
radio
so
sa-
much upbeat jazz.
Something internet safe.
Probably should have ran this by you before,
Yeah, probably.
but I didn't.
Why don't you just-
All right, I'll just
Here we
read
go.
it. I mean, holy cow. All right, so Paul there we go. Sends in the contact us form, and it says, Ben and Woods are a joke. They are nothing but a couple of clowns. They are the worst sports talk show in San Diego. Please do the San Diego radio market a favor and fire them. Now, that one didn't bug me that much. It didn't. People are going to do that. I do, Paul, know where you work now, but I'm not going to email your boss and tell him what a jerk you are, my friend. What I will say though, Paul, is I get emails like that, and it inspires me to be better. So whatever we did to you, whatever hot take or joke we made that made you so mad, buddy.
We got that yesterday during the show, and I go, "We've been on a pretty good behavior today." We haven't really done
Yesterday it
anything.
was like there was nothing edgy at all. I didn't.
We were
like,
just happy
we're just
about
having fun.
our
We got to win.
superstar right fielder returning.
But then I thought to myself, why would Adam send that to me in the middle of the show? All of us. And he goes, "Oh, I just thought you get a laugh out of him." I'm like, do we have different definitions of comedy? Send me a funny Richard Pryor clip if you're trying to make me laugh during the show. Adam and texting in the middle of the show.
Actually, don't do that either.
Yeah, don't do that either. Just, I got an idea. From 6 to 10, just put a little. Paulie has a thing where I'll try to text and it'll say, Paul has notification silence. I don't know how you do that on my phone because I would just have it all the time.
It's your focus.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I'll have you show me.
After like 9 o'clock.
We should all put ours on and block him from 6 to 10 every day. In what do you think Darvin Ham calls LeBron over at a timeout and goes, "Hey, check this out. This guy said you're a lazy sack of ass and you're the worst overrated turd I've ever seen. Have a good game."
This tweet came in during the first quarter. I thought you'd like to see it.
Jeannie just texted me a screenshot from the Lakers contact us page. He said you're overrated and balding. Thought you might want to see that in the middle of the game.
Dave Grohl finishes Best of You on stage,
Yeah.
and he's grabbing some water, and his band manager comes on to stage
Dave,
with
did you
his
see
laptop.
this?
Hey, Dave, real quick.
This guy
Check
said
out
you're a
this.
sack of S.
This guy
And then
says,
all
"You
your songs are
suck."
formulaic garbage now. Have a good encore.
Anyways, Pretender, yeah, crush it.
Crush it. It's unbelievable. So, but again,
I mean, we are kind of clowns.
We are.
sometimes.
I mean,
we
but-
can be clowns.
we are who we are. I'm I see the
Clowns are there to entertain you. That's
True.
why they have clowns in the circus. They're there to pass the time and entertain you and make you
try to make you
Make you
laugh,
laugh and,
just
you
have
know,
try to set you up in a good
keep things light.
Try to set you up for a good day. That's really it. But again, you
I mean, it sure as heck, it's not serious. This is sports we're talking
Yeah.
about. It's not life and death.
Right.
We're not doctors performing surgery.
that'd be boring radio. doctors talking about surgeries would
We're
be
not
really boring
we're not
radio.
judges who decide
The
on
fate of
criminal
people.
trials.
Yeah. Well, listen.
We are talking about sports for a living, so we try to keep it fun and light because it's sports. I know it feels like it's life or death sometimes to us as sports fans.
And we're as guilty as the next person of feeling that way too. But to go in after the show and to talk to Adam and just see like real live numbers of people that listen, it really domed me out in the best possible way. So thank you guys for supporting the show. I can't thank you enough. It's just staggering. It's staggering. And what we've been able to do, the three of us, I'm very proud of us. I'm very thankful for you guys because it's truly like the band Rush. We are the triumvirate, like
I love the punk rock band.
The punk rock band
comparison.
analogy is so very true with this show for 5 years.
Yes, am so punk.
You're more punk than you think you
Am
are.
I?
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you show up 5 minutes before showtime. That's very punk rock. Okay. That's one thing. But no, I mean, there's an aspect of when you do it yourself, it makes you feel a lot better. We don't have a giant machine behind us. There's not a giant machine behind us pushing all of our stuff, and we're doing a lot of it ourselves. And it's all of our ideas, and that makes me very, very thankful and pleased. And it's such an honor to do every day.
Coming up on the program this morning at 7:35, it's Friday. We will be joined by Craig Elston for our Crossing Stream segment. Probably something that listener Paul hates. Television and streaming recommendations from Craig each
he
week.
wasn't specific. No. So like if you said, hey, I hate Take on Woods, or if I've heard that a million times. It's like, bro, it's a 5 to 7 minute out of 4 hours. Like if that's the thing that gets you, I don't know what to tell you, but there was no specifics about it. He said we're clowns and we're the worst. I mean, I think the numbers would tell you that we're not, but hey, we're not everybody's cup of tea. Also, it's free, buddy. You don't have to listen. Nobody's got a gun to your head.
It's a Friar Friday, which means our management report comes up at 8:00 today, and we will be joined by the general manager and vice president of baseball operations for the San Diego Padres, AJ Preller, is going to be on the show this morning to talk about the return of Fernando Tatis Jr. last night. I'm curious about his thoughts on what Bob Melvin is going to do here with the starting rotation. Coming up with the return of Joe Musgrove tomorrow. I mean,
so the thing I want to ask him about is I want to hear his assessment of where the guys are after how many games now?
Let's see. I think this is
21
games into the season.
So 21 games, his assessment, but I also want to find out what he plans to do, if anything, at the catcher position, because I do feel like, and I know we're a bit hamstrung with just bodies right now, but it's not getting much better back there for Austin Nola. And I feel terrible for Austin Nola because I like Austin Nola. I really do. I want him to do well. Last night was a really rough go from him, So I want to ask AJ, are there plans? Is Ethan Salas ready? AJ, what are the rules?
Almost 17 by now.
Aren't there labor rules? Somebody, I think our buddy Mazzo tweeted last night, bro, he can't work past 9 o'clock, so we can get him in for a couple of hours, and then we'd have to pull him. But yeah, there are labor laws, and obviously you're not going to bring up him, but what are we going to do at this point? Because it's not dire. It's 21 games in, but it's glaring. Every game seemingly there's some issues. So want to ask him about that to be sure.
And then at 9 o'clock, we'll check in with our guy on the scene in Arizona and in the broadcast booth, Tony Gwynn Jr. from this very radio station and our afternoon show. The color analyst for your San Diego Padres is going to check in on his feel from last night and the return of Fernando Tatis Jr. Obviously, he gets a very up-close look at this team, both at home and on the road, and it's just fun to catch up with Tony every time you get a chance to. So
yeah, definitely want to talk hitting with him. And he sees every game. He sees there's the A word that everyone wants to talk about with this squad, and that's the approach. And I want to ask Tony Gwynn Jr. what he thinks of their approach at the plate and what he would do differently, things like that. I love talking hitting with Tony Gwynn Jr. So pretty good guy to do it with.
Up next, our daily ditty. It's Woods' selection to end the week. My theme, songs you were embarrassed to actually like. And Woods gets to pick another one. And then we will give away some tickets to the Legion game coming up next week. And we'll get into our Padres wrap-up all ahead. Do not go away. It is Ben and Woods on a Friday. Ladies and gentlemen, the weekend.
Look at you.
Coming up
SOB.
on San Diego's #1 sports station. Let's get our first check of traffic here with Kelly Danick on 97.3 The Fan.
Any ideas, Ben? You ever heard this before?
I've definitely heard this before.
Oh, it is 1999 again.
Boy, Paulie, let me tell you something, pal. This record came out. I was way into, Mr. Indie rock guy. This record came out, and I went, all right.
Excuse me, 97.
I'm not going to tell anybody about this Third Eye Blind record that I just am in love with. And I've had it mostly as a secret for many years. My wife and I went and saw them a couple of years ago. They played locally. We had the greatest time ever going to see them, and they still sounded really good. They were a good pop song, man, but it is a little bit kind of takes away your indie street cred. You're like, oh yeah, I love Third Eye Blind. we've all got the one. It's the one that gives me dork chills that I like it so much. Much like all of our songs this week. It was such a good topic, Benjamin. Such a good. I'll probably next week, unless I lose today at Take on Woods, I'll probably go back to covers or something, because this was such a thought-provoking one by Ben. Songs that you're kind of embarrassed that you like, but boy, when this one's on, as loud as it'll go, my friend. That is How's It Gonna Be by Third Eye Blind.
All right, so we all lost our Twitter check marks yesterday.
We did.
I pointed that out, and I had a moment where I saw a tweet by Joe Musgrove, and I wasn't sure. Well, someone faking to be Joe? Is someone pulling a bit? Because there's no check mark anymore. And it was a pretty spicy tweet. And I thought, oh, okay, I got to double, triple check. This is really him, because we're no longer verified on Twitter unless you pay the whatever it is, $8 a month to Elon. And when I saw him tweet, Brian Kenny, I cannot wait to hear your take after, your rant on the show yesterday morning about MLB Network's Brian Kenny, and, him being fairly silent on Max Scherzer after going off on Joe Musgrove in the playoffs last year. I thought, no, someone's pulling a bit. It's Father Joe 44. Okay, I think that's his Twitter handle. Is there a letter that's been changed? Did someone create a fake account quickly? And I can't tell. And everything else looks exactly the same. The profile picture, because people can do that.
Do you think Joe Musgrove cheated?
Yep.
And I thought, no, wait, hold on. This is I'm following this guy. So this is the real Joe Musgrove. He did tweet that yesterday, but without the check mark, I wasn't 100% sure.
Yeah, this is going to be the new reality. Now, for me, who got in trouble once by the Colorado Rockies, they said this is shameful from a verified member of the media. Guess who's not a verified member of the media anymore? Colorado Rockies. So I'll say now and forever, suck it. All right. I'm no longer verified, which actually is a nice burden off my shoulders. I feel like now I get to say whatever I want, right?
Because you're not verified.
Right.
There's no accountability anymore in your life. It's over.
Isn't that right? I'm not verified.
The only accountability you had in your life was to a little blue check mark.
We'll play the Rockies in June.
Okay.
Now they have a little yellow check mark. I think that's like the Rockies.
Is it a fake
organizational? I think.
Oh, organizational
Twitter account. Okay. Yeah, something like that.
Well, listen, I think
the Padres have the same one.
I didn't care much when I lost it. Now it's going to be annoying when people if they like spoof your account or something. I don't know what they could do, but I don't know. It's not like Twitter wasn't and hasn't always been a massive hellscape. So it's like just one more issue to add to the massive hellscape.
LeBron James was still blue check marked, even though he said, I'm not paying for it.
Yeah.
Apparently, Twitter said, why don't you just give it to LeBron for free?
Elon went out
He
went out of pocket yesterday for 3 people. Do you know who they are?
No, I know LeBron was one of them.
He does.
Not anymore.
Did they get rid of it after LeBron made a big, someone said something about LeBron not paying for it?
He just said yesterday. Yeah, he does, Paulie. Yeah, I'm looking at it. Huh. You might be looking at a
fake LeBron.
You might be looking at a fake LeBron.
Yeah, I got a check mark here with LeBron James.
At King James. So Elon paid for 3 people out of pocket, which is a weird combo. LeBron James, William Shatner, and Stephen King. All 3 have been very vocal about, hey, bro, if you do this, and again, because we talked a little bit about it last week, I'm not really interested in people's opinions of Elon Musk. I since he took over Twitter, it's been markedly worse. And that being said, to take a guy with 52.7 million followers like LeBron James that is willing to promote, and by promote, I mean put his content out on your site for free. You don't do that. If LeBron wanted to endorse Ben and Woods on the house, I'm not going to go, cool, can you give me $8 give me $96 a year and we'll call it even. You just thank your lucky stars that he's willing to do it. So I think this is not. Now, you want to take away local moron radio hosts check mark? Fine. I get it. That's fine. That being said, there's some guys out there that are like, no, I'm not going to pay on principle. You, in fact, should be paying me to do it. Now, LeBron James just saved himself $96 a year, as did William Shatner.
He's got that dad energy still. I know he's got
he does
more money than he'll ever need in his life, but he still has that. My guess is around the house, he checks the bills every month just to see where it's all going.
Yeah, no question. There's no question about it. It's not. I don't think it's like who was the dad that was talking? It was Shaq when he was talking about his kids, and he goes, No. I always tell my kids, you're not rich. I'm rich. which is unbelievable. Dad, I need new basketball shoes. He's like, get your ass out there and cut the grass. Like, that is the greatest thing I've ever heard. You're not rich. I'm rich. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. What a nice lesson for parents out there. But so we did lose our check marks. I'm not devastated about it in the slightest.
But
now I feel like the shackles are off.
Dad, when you go, you're going to leave me the money. Hey, I'll leave it to the public library if you can't keep up.
100%.
Well,
buddy.
Speaking of saving a little money, how would you like to go to an SD Legion game without paying a red cent? You can do so by winning a pair of tickets. We got them up for grabs right now for the game against the Houston SaberCats next weekend, April 30th at Snapdragon Stadium. Really is a nice venue. I was there a couple of days ago. You can check it out for yourself if you haven't been. Be the third caller right now at 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Hook you up with a pair of tickets to the Legion SaberCats game, or you can get your own if you're, independently wealthy like Shaq. Actually, they're not that expensive. Go get your tickets on sale now at sdlegion.com. All right, let's get into Fernando's return, our Padres wrap-up of the road trip opener last night at Chase Field in Arizona. For an 0 for 5, he still, to me, had a fairly outsized impact on the game last night. We will discuss that coming up next with Ben and Woods on the home of the Padres, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This hour 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by U.S. Army Salute Fest. Win a trip for two to Miami Beach for the U.S. Army Salute Fest, the most amazing Memorial Day weekend experience ever. This one-of-a-kind event includes the hottest names in music and a large showcase of top U.S. Army technology. Register now at usasalute.com and use promo code KWFN, which would be our call letters here at the station, The Fan, here in San Diego, California. Also the home of the Padres baseball team, local baseball team. We talk about them actually quite regularly.
Quite a bit.
If you tune into this show, and last night happened to be a fairly big night for the franchise as they welcomed back a significant player to their roster by the name of Fernando Tatis Jr. Do you like how I'm treating everybody as though they're 6 years old and don't have no clue what's going on here in San Diego this morning?
Sometimes you have to do that. It's proper radio. Sometimes you have to reset. You have to let everybody know. You don't assume.
Good morning, San Diego. It's 6:39 a.m.
It's 65 degrees and sunny so far. He is a key cog. Is one of my favorite sports.
Cog.
Yeah, he's a key cog.
More than a cog
in the Padres wheel. No, he's not. He's not bigger than the game.
It's not bigger. He's a big. I guess yeah. All
he's
right.
A key cog.
He's like that big cog that all the other little cogs.
I think he's the engine.
Fit into maybe.
He is got a little engine to him. Got a little straw that stirs the drink. Absolutely. It was our house screamed. The four of us. Taylor didn't know what he was screaming at, but the other, all three of us were, yeah, when he walked up to the plate. It was really a special feeling.
And I thought there was even though it was 16,000 people in an airline hangar in Phoenix, Arizona, still felt like there was a special energy last night to that game. The result went in the Padres' favor. We're going to check traffic, and then we'll come back with our Padres wrap-up here, how Jesse and Tony called it last night, and then get into our discussion of the game next year on 97.3 The Fan, KWFN.
From the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
That crash has cleared South 163 near University, so speeds are getting back to normal heading into the Hillcrest area. Eastbound King Freeway, watch out for what looks like a wheelbarrow in the slow lane near Euclid. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
I love winning, man. I love winning. You know what I'm saying? It's like better than losing.
Miss any of yesterday's Padres game?
Did you catch a game last night?
Well, we've got you covered.
Thank you.
It's the Padres Wrap-Up with Ben and Woods.
Let's go! It's our house right here, baby.
Presented by Hamul Casino. With thrilling slots and tables and all the best rewards, Hamul Casino has all the fun you're looking for. Hamul Casino, fun above all else. On 97.3 The Fan.
That is the ball game, and that is a winner. Here's the 0-1. Grisham swings, hits it well in the air to deep right field. McCarthy back. He looks up. It's going to one-hop up against the top of the wall. Cronenworth is scored. Carpenter is on his way. The relay to the plate is cut off, and a 2-run double for Trent Grisham. Walker ready. Here's the pitch, and that's hit hard in the air down the right field line, and a fair ball just barely. Diamondbacks on the board as Thomas scores easily from second base. Perdomo thinking 3. Kim's relay to third. Machado's tag, and the ball popped out. So he's safe at third, and it will be an RBI triple for Geraldo Perdomo. 2-1 Padres here in the second. This pitch hit in the air to very deep left center field. Carroll going back at the wall, and this one going to go. A home run. Xander Bogaerts, his 5th of the year. A 2-run shot here in the third, and the Padres lead it 4-1. Here's the 2-2. Carpenter hits it in the air to deep right field. McCarthy is back on the track. Looks up. Gonna go! Home run, Matt Carpenter. 2nd of the year for the Padre DH. 2nd of the night for the Pods. And a 5-1 lead here in the 4th. 2-2. Lines sharply over Machado down the line. That's a base hit. Soto gets to it quickly. Perdomo running through the stop sign. The throw to the plate. The tag is safe. Both runs come in to score. Thomas was always going to cross the dish. Perdomo ran through the stop sign. Soto's throw home was pretty good, but a little bit up the first baseline maybe. Nola had to lunge to try and tag him out. He got in. Rojas ends up at second base. 2-run score on the single. And now 5-3 Padres in the 4th. 0-2 on Lourdes Gurriel Jr. Here's the pitch from Waka. That's hit in the air deep down the left field line. Soto, long run up in front of the wall, turns around, watches it bounce off the wall. A base hit. Rojas will score. Throw comes into second base. Not in time. An RBI double for Gurriel. And now a one-run game. 5-4 here in the fourth. Gurriel at third. And now the 1-2 to Carroll in the dirt. Kicks away from Nola, rolling up the first baseline. Waka goes to get it, and the run will score. Second wild pitch of this at-bat. And now a 5-5 game in the fourth inning. 0-1 from Kyle Nelson to Trent Grisham. Swings here, lines one into deep center. Thomas got to go back on his horse, reaches out, can't make the catch. Gonna hop up against the fence, and the Padres gonna take the lead. Bogarts has scored. Cruz is on his way. The throw to the plate, not in time. Another two-run double for Grisham, his second of the night, and the Padres lead it 7-5. 2-1. Here's the pitch to Rojas. That's hit in the air, deep to right field. Fernando going back at the wall, reaches out, and he made the catch. What a play by Tatis. On the warning track, running towards the corner. Fernando using the wheels to make the play and end the inning. Will kick and deal, and a swing and a miss. Got him with a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. Hader works a 1-2-3 bottom of the ninth inning, and he caps it with a K. In Fernando Tatis Jr.'s return, it's the other guys who get it done. Padres beat the Diamondbacks tonight 7-5 to take game one of this 4-game series.
Hit the ball hard last time up. It's just not that easy to come in and get 4 or 5 hits like everybody expects, but definitely contributed today in the outfield. I didn't even look, a ball in the corner I thought was a double, so I was trying to look and see, a matchup coming up a little bit later, and next thing you know, I hear the crowd and he catches it. So definitely contributed.
Yeah, so an 0 for 5 for Fernando Tatis Jr., but in a victory, I think anyone will take that trade-off in the first game back for El Nino as the Padres beat the Arizona Diamondbacks 7-5 last night. Listening back, you know what my actual favorite part of the game last night was? I like that catch that Fernando made. Obviously, the home run by Bogarts was great. Matt Carpenter hits a home run as well. Good to see that. He's been scuffling a bit, but my favorite part was the hustle from Nelson Cruz.
It was
incredible.
Didn't even start the game, comes in as a pinch hitter, hits a ground ball that I'm assuming is going to be a double play to end the inning, but it's booted by Ahmed there at short, and only because he was absolutely going as hard as he could. 42 years old, out of the box.
Busting it.
Beats it out at first to get on base, and then Grisham hits one over the head of the center fielder, and I'm thinking, there's no way Cruz is getting all the way around from first to 42 years old, but that guy was absolutely on his horse the whole way around and made it fairly easily to give that Padres a little extra cushion in the 2-run lead that would end up standing up in that game in the 7-5 win. When you see buy-in from a veteran like that, who no one is going to say a word if he pulls up at third in that situation. Right. No one's going to say a word.
Really, no one's going to say a word if he wraps a hard ground ball to short and just kind of jogs down to first, because he's 42 years old. I mean, and again, we talked a bunch on this show about, it's a long season. You can't go hair on fire. You got to know your limitations. But I think when he sniffed an opening, man, he turned it on, and that was a huge play in that game.
But you wonder why Manny Machado was so excited to get Nelson Cruz on this team. The buy-in from a veteran like that goes so far on a roster to see someone like that, because honestly, any other player on that team, not that there's a bunch of guys who don't give it their all in the Padres, but you look at that and you have no excuses whatsoever. Well, I guess Nelson Cruz knows at least he's the designated hitter. He can go sit down for a few minutes after sprinting around the bases, but he was glad he did not have to go out into the field after that. But I loved seeing that. To me, that was the best sign. And actually, on a pretty fun night, that was actually my favorite part of the whole evening last night.
I think Brent Honeywell's performance deserves a lot of accolades. Really. Yeah, really the whole bullpen. But Honeywell going multiple innings was phenomenal, red-assed country boy. I love that kid, and what a great find. And talk about taking a flyer on somebody. We watched him at spring training. We thought, oh yeah, this could be good if it works out. We kind of feel sometimes around these parts that, well, it rarely works out. so far, so good. Knock on wood. Keep up the great work, Brent Honeywell. You got to imagine he's down for today, though, as will be Josh Hader after getting 2 saves back-to-back. I would imagine he's down, too. So that changes the equation a little bit for Bob Melvin. But, you want to come in here and be fair and honest. Objectively, it was an ugly win, but an ugly win is an ugly win, and I'll take it. It's still a dub, and that's 2 in a row. So you're pleased about that. As far as Fernando goes, one of my
you know what? I'm going to disagree with the way you categorized it.
Yeah.
I don't think it was an ugly win. It was a win that didn't come in the way that we kind of expected and scripted it.
Well, I don't even
with Fernando doing something spectacular and your star players leading the way.
I don't necessarily mean it was an ugly win because the top of the order didn't produce again. What I mean by ugly win is there's a nasty pass ball. There's a weird attempt to tag a runner out that, it's like Austin Nola and Michael Wacha, the battery last night was ugly. It was an ugly performance by both of those guys. Offensively for Nola really as well. But defensively is where
look
it
at
hurts
this Arizona Diamondbacks team and the way they played last night, the way they've played so far this season.
Yeah, first place team.
I don't think they're going away.
No.
I don't expect them to win the division, but this is not a team that just happens to be off to a hot start. They play hard.
They do.
I like their brand of baseball. They fight, and they came back in that game. And this is a team that's got some grit and some gumption. You're playing on their field, and you lose a 5-1 lead, and you maintain your composure. You go back ahead, and then you lock them down at the end of the game. I'm going to call that a good win. Not the prettiest, but I certainly don't think that's, that's not an ugly
If
game.
you're not pretty, what are you?
You're
mid.
A 5.
It was a mid
you're
win.
A 5
yeah,
on a scale of it's a mid.
It was
it wasn't ugly, but it was mid.
We're splitting hairs a little bit,
maybe.
But Wacha is a concern, and I think Austin Nola is a concern. That said, look I saw people last night. Why is Nola in the lineup? Well, I mean, I can tell you exactly why he's in the lineup because Brett Sullivan has exactly 1 game in the big leagues under his belt. 1. Now, how does a guy get more experience? You play him. Like it stands. Yadi Molina, at one point in his career, guess how many games he had under his belt? 1. You got to play him. And Campusano
Brett Sullivan's he's not a top prospect,
No.
though. He's not someone that, hey, we need to give this some time because then we'll turn the whole keys to the kingdom over to Brett Sullivan.
Absolutely not.
It's Campusano who
Right.
you want to see out there.
And he's
he's
injured.
And he's injured right now.
I saw people last night. Where's Campy? Why isn't he playing Campy? Well, he's hurt. He's on the IL with a thumb. I don't know when he's supposed to be back. They're a bit hamstrung in what they can actually do back there. So that's kind of where it falls. I kind of imagine Nola's going to be in the lineup again today. I do. There is
Sullivan will catch 1 game in this series.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know which one it'll be.
Yeah.
But then Nola will probably get the other 2.
Yeah. So
remaining.
it's almost like you got to kind of grin and bear it. But it was a rough game last night. And I think that's a position where you can look at if you're AJ Preller, who we'll talk to at 8. We'll ask him about that certainly. I don't know that anybody expected Austin Nola to get off to this rough a start, especially the way he was playing early in spring training. I know he wore one in the face. That sucks. It's terrible. He gamed his way back, didn't really miss a lot of time.
He was looking good.
He was looking really good. That's kind of the bummer.
That is a bummer.
And again, this is not a rip Austin Nola show. I like Austin Nola. I hope he does well. We need him to do well. We need somebody back there that's solid. And last night, man, was it was a rough go at the catching position last night. So
and the concern about Michael Wacha, that's 2 starts in a row, which have not gone well for Wacha. It's tough to take a guy who you're counting on though for innings. I mean, the reason they signed Michael Wacha
eat innings
was not to dominate.
No.
He was to be a 5th/6th starter and eat a bunch of innings. Now he only ate, which is not enough, and you can't get that consistently and keep rolling him out there. But he looked good in his first start, and
he did.
I feel like you're going to have to keep rolling him out there a little bit and give him some opportunities to get going and show who he really is, because we know it's in there. Problem is you're bringing back Joe Musgrove, and we're already discussing yesterday who comes out of the rotation. It will be tough to take guys out who are performing better, like Ryan Weathers or Nick Martinez,
very tough,
and put them into the bullpen and say, but we're going to keep Michael Wacha in there, who is scuffled now 2 starts in a row. he has a third straight start, and you're going, oh, what are we doing here? So
Yeah.
I think the decision that is coming up, and we'll talk to AJ Preller about this as well, kind of an interesting one that the Padres are going to have to make after this weekend when Joe Musgrove returns to the starting rotation.
The one thing I will say about Fernando's ABs, it's, again, one of my favorite baseball words. You'll only hear it in baseball, is that he did look, in fact, hitterish. He looked hitterish. That first pitch hack that he took, I was like, oh God, he's back. That is a violent, beautiful swing that if he connects, that ball is 500 feet into left field. Now, 0 for 5. It's a results-based game. Struck out a couple times. Big deal. Made a really nice play out in right field. I think they said it was a 45% catch probability. Wasn't a 2%, 3%. But, man, first game back in that long, 564 days. You make a catch like that. In fact, his own manager did not think he was going to make that catch. And he did end up reeling that one in. He did almost collide with Kim there in the ninth, which was it was shades and excruciating memory of Kim and Tommy Pham going. But here's what Bob had to say about Tatis.
This is Fernando.
Oh, this is Fernando.
How'd you feel out in right field, especially making that play in the 8th inning, running that one down in the corner? Bob didn't think he had a chance again.
He told me he was thinking what we're gonna do next after that double. I was like, "Oh, you got me out there, Poppy. Let's go."
You got me out
You
there,
got
Poppy.
me out there, Poppy.
I
Let's go.
I love that confidence that he has. I love it.
There was a play that looked like he missed a cutoff man, but Bob said afterwards that was more on the infield. There was some miscommunication, and that ball going to the catcher probably shouldn't have happened. He also, by the way, caused that runner to hold up on what I thought was going to be an easy RBI single. So that speed getting to the ball played out there in right field, and he's only going to get better defensively. But I want to finish this up by pointing out that even though he went 0 for 5, and the top 3 guys in the order went, what was probably 0 for 13?
Yeah.
The Padres didn't win in spite of those 3 guys. You probably would say that. Well, yeah, they won in spite of their top 3 guys failing to get a hit. I truly think, and I said this in the show yesterday, that it'll be so tough for opposing pitchers to have to navigate that part of the order. There's going to be a letdown against the rest. You just can't go through a lineup and think every single guy is going to kill you. And when you get through those 3 guys, and credit to Ryan Nelson, struck out the side in the first inning. He was going to all of his pitches. I mean, that was an intense first inning for Ryan Nelson. And then what do the Padres come out and do in the top of the second? They put 2 runs on the board from the rest of their order. It's going to be very hard for opposing pitchers, even if those guys don't get hits, to navigate this Padres, the full unleashed lineup that they have going right now.
And we're in here, talking about pretty much everybody but the guy that's gotten it done for us almost every day since opening day, Xander effing Bogaerts, who has been such a lift to this organization. You can't say enough good things about him. We'll ask AJ about AJ's probably going to take a victory lap on that one. I know it's only 21 games in.
As he should.
He's been incredible.
He'll appear on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. Chance to win a trip to Vegas. We'll play some Take on Woods and more coming up next year with Ben and Woods on the Fan. Victory Friday, good way to end the week. 2 wins in a row for your San Diego Padres. They will continue the series tonight against the Arizona Diamondbacks at 7:40 here on the Fan. It'll be Seth Lugo against Zach Gallen. Pretty good pitching matchup tonight in Game 2 of that series, and it's only a matter of time before Fernando Tatis Jr. connects. I mean, he wasn't far off. He hit the that first out, the ground ball, the second at bat.
Yeah, he hit it hard.
He hit it very hard. I think 110 miles an hour.
He hit the ball hard in his last AB
He
as
did.
well. Yeah.
The one down the line, Bob Melvin thought was going to fall for a double, and was surprised that the play was made. So it's not like he went up there looking rusty and going to take a lot of time to get back going. That was just baseball last night. You're not going to get 2 hits every single game, even if you are Fernando Tatis Jr. But my expectation is that it's coming, and it's coming soon, and very likely something good is coming tonight based on what we saw last night.
He's got good numbers against Gallen too, but look, if the timing wasn't off, right? Like you take an offer, you take a caller from time to time. The best ones do. But I didn't
crazy numbers in his return games. It was just a little bit of a statistical anomaly. There was nothing magical about those return games. He's a great athlete, so maybe part of it is that he doesn't get into those, rusty, I need a few day funks like a lot of baseball players do, and he can still perform. But there's nothing magic that makes him hit the ball on those first days.
Now, how locked in do you think he'll be to start, like this weekend, over the next week, so to speak? Because he was, as locked in as you could get.
I think he already is.
Now,
I don't think
he's locked.
The jump, obviously, from AAA to the major league level is astronomical, but he's not like some prospect making his major league debut either. He's seen major league pitching. But he hasn't played in a year now.
But you've got Ha-Seong Kim, who essentially plays every day, and he couldn't look more lost at the plate. You couldn't look more lost and not on time than Ha-Seong Kim looks right now, flailing at pitches and selling out and missing cookies. Manny's not locked. Manny missed a 94-mile-an-hour heater at his belt to end the inning last night. Juan Soto's not locked in. At least he's grabbing some walks and here and there. So that gives you a little bit of relief to say, well, at least he's seeing it well.
He swung at a 3-0 pitch yesterday. He hit it hard, but he's putting top spin and over the top of it, and ended up hitting a hard one hopper right to the second baseman.
That's exactly right. So Paulie, as far as being locked in, I looked at his swings last night and I went, God dang, he looks good.
I agree with you.
He looks good.
Traditionally, some guys any other just guy tearing it up at AAA level.
Austin Hedges hit like 800.
It doesn't automatically mean you're going to just start in your first week in the big leagues. But again, Fernando's not some guy.
He's not just some guy.
He's seen major league pitching plenty of times. Now it's been a while, but I still expect him to get going here as soon as tonight, even.
You and I both. And getting that first, remember how he started spring training? He was like 0 for 19.
Yeah.
And Ben tried to trade him.
Ben was ready to
early on.
ties.
He wanted a good, solid relief arm.
Remember how he rolled his eyes when someone asked him about it?
He did.
What are we talking about here?
What are we talking
10
about?
at-bats?
Yeah. It was like 16, I think. But yeah, Ben was ready to ship him out of town for, a middle
big
relief.
eye roll from Fernando. Really? What are we talking about here? A dozen spring training at bats?
Let's put it this, like I said, whose at bats did you like better last night? Fernando Tatis Jr., who just got back, or Ha-Seong Kim, who's played almost every
Fernando
day?
Tatis.
Fernando Tatis Jr. And again, I know it's hard. Come on, man. We all wanted to see. In a perfect world, here's what we wanted to see. Hard single, steals second. Soto drives him in with a double. Manny hits a 2-run bomb. Xander comes up. He hits a solo shot. Of course. And by the way,
I think
hold on. We will see it. We are going to see that.
I don't know. My perfect world. So right before the game started,
I wanted a bomb so bad.
Right before the game started, our friends at Cespedes Family Barbecue, our Monday regulars, tweeted a poll, and they said, will Fernando Tatis Jr. swing at the first pitch?
I clicked yes.
I clicked no.
I clicked yes.
I was like on the 15%. I go, you're gone. You're going to take a pitch.
You're
just going to get
ambush.
this. I said, no way. He swung at that pitch.
Oh, God.
He looked so close to hitting it 500 feet.
So close.
In the perfect world, can you imagine if he had connected on that and sent it like 500 feet to center field for his first swing of the season. Now that would have been theater right there.
Well, the thing is yes, I could imagine it. He had the pitch to do it. He knows that. He just missed it.
Just barely.
So I love.
And not because he was way late.
No,
he was
no,
just a little under it. Just fouled it
He's
off.
going to be good. Everyone's going to be fine. You got the win in spite of the the black hole of future Hall of Famers at the top of our order yesterday. Man, kudos again to Trent Grisham for just owning that game last night. Merry Grishmas to everybody out there. He really delivered. That was awesome.
Need a contestant for Take on Woods coming up here in a couple of minutes. I think Woods is on a non-losing streak. I think there was a tie earlier, but
Save it.
No one's beat him. Say what?
Just don't jinx me.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to. 833-288-0973. Chance to qualify for a getaway to Las Vegas coming up later in the next 60 minutes. Craig Elston and his Crossing Streams segment, plus big Sockers playoff game or two big playoff games tonight if things go well for the Sockers at Pechanga Arena. And then AJ Preller, the general manager of the San Diego Padres, at 8 a.m. And AJ did have to make a move yesterday to activate Fernando Tatis Jr. and create a 40-man roster spot for him because suspended players are not on the 40-man. And to do so, they transferred Robert Suarez from the 15-day to the 60-day injured list, which means we will not be seeing Robert Suarez. Now, it's retroactive to spring training, so, we could still potentially see him in May at some point. No, in June at some point.
Yeah, he hasn't even started throwing.
Yeah,
at all.
Well, I think I saw Bob said he's not even close.
Yeah, I think
throwing.
that's part of the thinking process, that even if he started the process today of the long toss and then working up for a few days and then maybe a bullpen session or two and then a minor league, by the time you got to the end of that road, it would nearly be June anyway. So this isn't pushing back the timetable necessarily for Robert Suarez. It's simply the easiest move. You don't have to DFA someone, take anyone, put them on waivers, risk losing a player by transferring them off the 40-man. This was simply the easiest and smartest move for the Padres to make.
Who was sent down?
Dixon.
Okay.
Back down, I believe. Yeah. To which he's got options, and you can send him back. He'll be up and down throughout the course of the season, most likely as one of the shuttle players to El Paso this year. But is it good news? Robert Suarez, who you signed to a contract extension in the offseason, yet to see him. I know what you're thinking. Are we going down the same road as Drew Pomeranz, who signed a 4-year deal?
Yeah, it gives you immediate panic in that respect. Immediate. I mean, we're conditioned to that. We're not immune to it. The San Diego Padres are not the only team where something like that, things like that happen all the time. But it's such a bummer because he was so effective, and we were all stoked when they re-signed him to the big deal, and you just really want him back. So,
all right, we got a contestant on the line. It looks like Paulie confirms yes. All right, let's get to it. Let's play some Take on Woods. All right, Mickey, you are our contestant this morning. How you doing, Mickey?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Good. All right, Woods is leaving the studio. He doesn't get to hear this part of the competition, but I wish you good luck in your chance to qualify for our monthly getaway to Las Vegas. This month, it is a 2-night stay at the Westgate, Las Vegas Resort and Casino, plus tickets to Barry Manilow, who is performing at their international showroom, setting records, his 14th year in the room, breaking Elvis's record. I see all of his great standards like Copacabana and Mandy and Can't Smile Without You. Get your tickets now to see Barry Manilow at the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino. You can win by beating or tying Woods in our 5-question musical trivia game. And to give you a little bit more of an advantage, I'm going to give you the category choices, Mickey. Here are what you have to choose from today. Still sitting there, we got L names. Those are song titles that feature people's names beginning with the letter L. We've got Do the Do, which people have been shy on. It's do, like those kind of thing, those kind of songs with doo-wop going, do. And then Stand and Deliver is the new category today. 5 songs with the word stand in the title. So any of those 3 catch your fancy. L names, Do the Do, or Stand and Deliver. Mickey?
Let's go with L name.
L names. All right. That one's been sitting there for a while. Again, 5 song titles that all feature people's names beginning with the letter L. You'll have 60 seconds to try to get as many of the 5 as possible. You don't know an answer, say pass. We can come back to it if there's time left on the clock. And to begin, Paulie will play our 2-second song, give you a well-known hit. You need to give me the title and the artist to score that one, and we'll go on from there. All right, Mickey, are you ready to play?
I am ready.
All right, the 60 seconds are on the clock. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. The category is L names. Good luck, Mickey. Let's take on Woods.
Louis, the Kingsman?
Correct. It was the top song from the only album by Derek and the Dominoes. Eric Clapton recorded a successful acoustic version more than 20 years later.
Layla.
Correct. Which Little Richard song shares a name with B.B. King's famous guitar?
Lucille.
Correct. Because the BBC wouldn't allow songs with advertising on the radio, the Kinks changed the words Coca-Cola from the album version to Cherry Cola for the single version of which song?
Lola.
Correct. John Bon Jovi has said his favorite song of all time shall be which 1971 Elton John hit?
Oh my God. 1979 Elton John with an L. I can't even think of it.
Oh, it shall be what? Oh, no, I don't know. That could be a big one. Hang on there, Mickey.
Man.
4. You got the first 4 right. It shall be Levon.
I'm calling it right now. That's going to be the difference maker. I don't know if Woods will get it or not.
Does he know the Kingsman is such an oldie? I mean, it's not Woods'
I think
wheelhouse.
Woods gets the first 4.
I think the other 3 he's got. Lola could trip him up. We'll see. Let's bring him back in. All right, Mickey is locked in. He doesn't get the category. That makes things a little tougher. 60 seconds back on the clock. Your time begins when Paul plays our music. Good luck, Woods. Let's take on Mickey.
Louie by the Kingsmen?
Correct. It was the top song from the only album by Derek and the Dominoes. Eric Clapton recorded a successful acoustic version.
Layla.
Correct. Which Little Richard song shares a name with B.B. King's famous guitar?
Lucille.
Correct, because the BBC wouldn't allow songs with advertising on the radio. The Kinks changed the words Coca-Cola from the album version to Cherry Cola for the single.
Lola.
Correct. John Bon Jovi has said his favorite song of all time shall be which 1971 Elton John hit?
Levon.
No, it did happen.
Called
Mickey,
it.
I'm so sorry. He got a block on Levon and couldn't come up
He
with it.
flew through the first 4.
Shall be was, I thought, the key phrase in that question.
Was that? Let me guess the category.
Yeah.
Hold the L.
Oh, I like that. I just called it L names. You're much more creative than I am.
What the L?
Mickey.
What the L? That would be better too. Oh.
Hey, Mickey. Hold this L, buddy.
Oh,
Sorry
sorry,
about it.
Mickey.
Sorry,
And he rubs it in a
Brutal.
little bit, but good playing, Mickey.
Brutal.
Please try again. You definitely
That was
have
great,
the,
huh?
You have the chops for this game. I'm usually good at coming up with category creative
Hold
names,
the
but you
L.
both blew me out of the water on that one. Oh, it came down to Levon, and you got it there at the end. All right, good drama, good theater at least on a Friday for Take on Woods. Don't Do This is coming up next. Woods, we got a good do this story involving a Major League Baseball pitcher who has been battling some health issues.
Apparently, they let my grandfather call a hockey game last night. Got audio of this. Good God.
All right, that's coming up next with Ben and Woods. We'll be right back after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
this.
It's time for Don't Do This.
What were you thinking?
3 stories from the world of sports that make us all shake our heads.
Why? How many times do I have to tell you?
I'm sorry, I fudged up, guys.
You idiot. You moron. Dumbass.
The apple sometimes does fall from the tree.
Don't Do This
Do not tweet that.
with Ben and Woods
I like a Nickelback song or two.
on 97.3 The Fan.
Want to stay connected with Ben and Woods all week long? Just give us a follow in the Odyssey app for easy access to clips, show reminders, and more. Just download the Odyssey app, follow Ben and Woods. You can listen to us, make it easy. Paulie cuts it all up. He works very hard every single day, cuts up segments, cuts up interviews, hours, however you want to consume this program. Paul Reinl makes it possible for you, and you can do so on the Odyssey app. All right, I'll get us started today, and this is a story that kind of goes along with a few things we've been talking about recently. So Michael Schumacher, you might remember, one of the greatest Formula One drivers of all time, had a dominant almost 20-year run, but then got in a skiing accident in 2013 and has since been out of public life.
Sad.
His family says they try to keep him comfortable, always at home, but clearly the 54-year-old, it was a pretty devastating
Head
injury and
yeah.
head injury, and he's never really come back, which surprised a lot of people when a German magazine,
Right.
Die Aktuelle, published what they said was the first interview with the racing great since that accident almost 10 years ago. And you buy the magazine, you open it up, and you've got what seems like a very legitimate interview with Michael Schumacher, except never happened. Now, this isn't a case of a journalist who just made something up. They actually used artificial intelligence.
Hold on. Who?
The magazine, to create an interview with Michael Schumacher. Now, they admitted it in the piece that it was an AI interview. And even if you look at the bottom of the cover and you can read German, they said, Das Interview, es klingt tauschend echt. It says it sounded deceptively real.
Wow.
So they kind of sort of admitted it, but the family is not happy. They are suing the magazine for publishing what they say was a fake, non-authorized, non-interview with Michael Schumacher.
So did the magazine get together, the people from the magazine get together in a conference room and say, let's do a fake AI interview?
And sort of make it look kind of real, like put them on the cover, and like People magazine would put whoever on the cover and interview.
Yeah,
and
Ben Affleck or something.
The big words say interview Michael Schumacher, and then the little words say it sounded deceptively real. And then in the piece,
but if it's deceptively
you start reading it,
real,
and then later in the interview, later in the magazine article, it says something to the effect of, doesn't this sound really real? Well, this isn't really Michael Schumacher.
God, that's so
but you've already read the whole
awful.
piece, and then you find out that it didn't happen. How often are we going to be seeing this?
I know, dude. AI is terrifying.
As we move toward these new frontiers of technology in the future,
Very
it becomes
scary.
more and more easy to impersonate people. The deep fakes, even using video now. I mean, in a magazine, you're not hearing his voice, you're not seeing him, but they can do it now with they get enough video of a public figure, they can actually create like an artificial person, and now they can put enough of their personality, their responses, that they can come up with like original answers to questions in that person's voice and mannerisms. Kind of scary at this point. We are getting into science fiction territory very quickly. I
just want to move to Finland in a cabin somewhere.
This
They
is
probably
Germany.
have it there
This
too.
is Germany.
That's
They've
You're
got
right.
it. They have AI
over there too.
You're right. You're
We need
right
to
again.
move to Mars or somewhere else.
God bless. Somebody let my grandfather in the booth last night. It was the playoffs in the NHL going on. Tampa Bay Lightning against the Toronto. Is it Maple Leafs still? Or, yeah, it's the Maple Leafs. And the Maple Leafs were absolutely throttling the Tampa Bay Lightning. 7-1 at the time.
6-1.
I'm sorry, 6-1 at the time. They ended up winning the game 7-2. And
this was with 11 minutes left in the third period.
11 minutes left. One of the Lightning players is thrust into the penalty box. And here's what the broadcaster said.
There's activity by the Lightning penalty box. I think the Lightning are upset with some of the...
Set the scene. There is a guy like banging on the penalty box glass. There's a cup. I mean, the whole
It's
section
nuts. It happens
is just
all the time.
going crazy.
All right, chat with some of the fans over there.
You got a fat woman who's yapping like crazy. Is that a guy with long hair? I can't tell.
Dang hippie.
I mean,
Woman who's yapping like crazy. Woman who's
fans over there.
You got a fat woman
he's
who's
terrific.
yapping like crazy. Is that a guy with long hair? I can't tell.
he sounds like he's 100 years old. You know my beef, and I know our hockey enthusiasts will weigh in here. What's my beef with baseball? People that hate baseball calling games maybe have aged out of the game a little bit, haven't really adapted to some of the newer, nuances of the game. The hockey broadcasters that guy sounds old. He sounds like an old, angry man, big fat woman, or maybe a man. I can't tell with the long hair. Unbelievable. I don't know who it is. I don't even have a name.
I have no idea.
I have no idea. I have no guesses. Somebody will let us know.
Finally, do this from the world of baseball and Chicago White Sox pitcher. Oh, yes, here we go.
Thank you.
DD Mega Doo-Doo.
White Sox pitcher Liam Hendricks, who, of course, has been battling cancer. It was revealed in the offseason. Now, a couple of weeks ago, you might have seen the video of him ringing the bell when you finish your chemo treatments. You're done with the treatments. Yep. And yesterday, do this. Great news. Went back for his scans, and he posted on Instagram how it started versus how it's going. Remission. It's official. I'm cancer-free. Congratulations to the 34-year-old. And now I assume it's off to, getting back the strength and getting back to the mound for the Chicago White Sox ever since he was diagnosed. It's a non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, I think is what he has. They didn't actually put it in this piece, but I think that's what he's been battling.
He is such a character of the game. Remember him mic'd up in the All-Star game? Liam,
he's Australian.
Yeah, he's Australian. He's such a character, and he has very, very salty language that I can appreciate as a fellow salty language ambassador. Liam Hendricks, good for the game of baseball, in my opinion.
It sounds more fun, though, in Australia.
It sounds way better.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about the fact that we just had a week off and we get to face the Padres. Slam Diego, or whatever people are calling them now. I still don't know how I feel about their uniforms, though. Still unsure. They kind of look like silken pajamas.
There you go. That was when we had Liam Hendricks on the show many years ago.
That wasn't a Chat GPT AI version
that was
of Liam Hendricks. It was uncannily accurate.
I went down to
Petco. Whoever did that Australian accent must be a master of voices.
I went down to Petco. I had my recorder, and again, I talked to Liam Hendricks, and I asked him, hey, what's it going to be like facing Slam Diego?
I'm really excited about the fact that we just had a week off and we get to face the Padres. Slam Diego, or whatever people are calling them now. I still don't know how I feel about their uniforms, though. Still unsure. They kind of look like silken pajamas.
Right. Yeah. Thank you, Liam. It was good to talk to you, and I can't wait to catch
What
up
the
with
bloody
you.
hell was that attempt at an Aussie accent?
I can't wait to talk to him again. A longtime friend of the show.
Love
Liam Hendricks so much, and he is just one of my favorites.
And that is do this for a Friday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
Our boy Joe Boo tweets in, the old man doing color commentaries, Hall of Famer Phil Esposito.
Oh.
I actually know that name. He is 81 years old. A
Sounds
big,
like it.
fat woman. Oh, that's fantastic.
All right, speaking of AI, you'll
Chat with some of the fans over there.
You got a fat woman who's yapping like crazy. Is that a guy with long hair? I can't tell.
So bad.
You'll appreciate
Fat
this.
woman.
I just got a text from my buddy Scott. He said, so he just typed into an AI chat box.
Yeah.
How can I help you? It says, make a joke in the style of Seinfeld about listening to the Ben and Woods San Diego Sports Morning Show.
Yeah.
That's all he wrote. So here's what it came up with. What's the deal with Ben and Woods? I mean, I tune in for some sports talk, and all I get is two guys blabbering on about their favorite breakfast foods.
Fair enough.
I don't care if they like pancakes or waffles. I just want to hear about the Padres.
That's fantastic.
It's not bad.
I get that.
Bad.
I get that comment 4 times a week. Waffles, by the way. for
AI
the win.
understands the show pretty well.
Very well. That's fantastic.
I also will say waffles over pancakes, although I like a good thin pancake, almost like a crepe style of
Yes.
pancake.
Yes.
If it's really like fluffy and battery, it just gets too heavy for
Yeah, it's
me.
too heavy.
I like the crispiness of the waffle. Really crispy waffle with lots of good edges.
Oh, I love.
That's what I like.
You do love edging your waffles.
All right, Craig Elston joins us. It is our
Important.
Crossing Streams segment coming up next with some streaming TV recommendations, and he's got a big night tonight. He's hoping that he has to call 2 soccer games, a full game and then a mini game as well. We'll talk to Craig.
Is
when we
indoor
return.
soccer is maybe the only sport you could do that? Maybe I mean maybe box
Like
lacrosse.
game 6 of the World Series, and if they tie it up, we're going to play a 3-inning game afterwards to
It's
decide
like
it all.
You got 10 minutes.
They don't do that in box lacrosse.
I'm saying
No,
they
but where
could.
could you do it? Like,
Yeah,
you know.
It would be weird as hell.
Hey Bob, all right, you got a 3-inning game coming up. We're gonna
if
start
it-
in about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Figure out a starter.
If it was
Let's
a
go.
full soccer game, there's no way you make those guys run around for 90 minutes and go, okay, it's all right. We got to play
Their
now
game.
another 30-minute game
Can't
after
double
this.
head it. Yeah. Interesting.
All right, so Craig joins us when we come back on San Diego's #1 sports station and breakfast waffle talk station.
You know it.
97.3 The Fan. Well, as I said in our last segment, if this day goes as Craig Elston is hoping, it'll be a very long day for our friend. He's hoping for like the longest of days, deep into the night, working very hard, but he's still up early with us and getting ready for his Crossing Streams recommendation. We'll talk some Padres as well. He is standing by after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Gomez Trial Attorney. Seriously injured? Get a real trial attorney. Get Gomez. Got a stalled vehicle on the southbound 125 just past the King Freeway. Looks like that is blocking the slow lane. And we can check ladder and lanes off our morning commute bingo card. We got one on northbound 125 just before Grossmont. That is in the fast lane. If you've been injured in a car, truck, or motorcycle accident, Gomez Trial Attorneys is ready to fight for you all the way to trial. Get a real trial lawyer. Get Gomez. Call 833. Get Gomez. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
I apologize. I completely lied to you in our moments ago when I said Craig Elston was standing by. He is not standing by. We're still waiting for him to join us. So
should be any second.
Yeah, I mean, he's pretty reliable, actually. I mean, we've had him on for pretty much every Friday for what is this now, 2.5 years or so?
I mean, it wasn't too long into the pandemic when we brought him on every Friday because all we had was streaming and just sitting at home and waiting for new shows to come out, and everybody freaking loved his segment.
It blew me away how many people listened to this show during the pandemic.
That was a shock
because we had nothing to talk about.
Literally nothing.
We spent a week on a Michael Jordan documentary.
We treated it like Game 7 of the World Series.
We talked about fake baseball games that we did online
Don't even
with a
bring it
video
up,
game.
dude. It makes me, I have to like get a Xanax when I think about it. It's the worst days of my life. It was
So-
awful.
So brutal.
Craig's ready.
All right, we do have Craig Elston now on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad Fan Hotline. Good morning, Craig.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Good, buddy. Did you have an audible yelp last night when Tatis strode to the plate like everyone in my house did? It was like a, let's go. Like an audible, there was a yelping going on in my home.
Yes, I am. Unlike yourself with Bo Woods, I'm now trying to reconvert my son to baseball. I think, I
This
think
is gonna
between the
happen to me.
pandemic and everything else, he got, he doesn't like me dragging him out. So like, I literally was like, you've got to turn it on. Tatis is coming up. I was about to go to the gym. I had just finished a soccer show and I was going to watch it on the iPad, but I'm like, we're going to watch Tatis's first at bat. And then we turned it on and, there it is. And of course, a bad strikeout. And then like, I literally like turned my head to say something to my wife and he switched the channel back to My Hero Academia. And I was like, what do you, wait, what? It was the first out. There's 26 to go.
I know that that's going to happen at some point where Bo's just going to go, I don't want to do this. I want to, I want to go skateboarding. And I'm going to have to, as a dad, be like, okay. And knowing he'll be back, knowing full well at some point he will be back. But I dread that day of parenthood when Bo's like, I don't really like baseball anymore because he's so into it right now. But no, it was it was a strikeout, certainly. Boy, were you like us when you saw him swing at that first pitch, though? It almost got me out of my seat. I mean, I fully expect that dude. He looks hitterish. He looks like he's going to be ready. And it was just so good to see him back.
Well, and the trickle-down effect, of course,
Yeah.
right? That Grisham is now hitting at the bottom of the order. That the bottom of the order we expected to have, we now have with Kim and Grisham and Nola. And who knows how long Nola, sticks in that part of the equation. But you like to have those guys who you don't count on every day to get a hit, a la Xander Bogaerts, to be in those kind of like, low leverage, high yield return slots where, 2 hits from Grisham can produce 4 runs. Honestly, Trent Grisham is playing such a good level of center field so far this season. He's making every play. Of course, the diving catch was amazing. I thought the play he made just with his back to home plate, racing back to make a catch in full stride was just as good. His confidence level is incredible. And this is the Trent Grisham that you want. It's one of the variables on the team that we talked about in terms of, are you going to hit the top of your window or the bottom of your window for wins? Grisham's turned up almost all the way. Now, can we get the guys at the top of the order to turn up their knobs to where we expect them to be?
100%.
You know, there were eye rolls back in 2020 when he won the Gold Glove in the shortened season.
Yeah, Walker Buehler tweeted out LOL that day that he won the Gold Glove. And I mean, he is defensively, you feel when the ball's hit out that way, you feel like you've got a really, really good chance. And yeah, you make a good point. There was the diving catch, certainly, that was incredible. But the one, like the shot, I mean, it was a shot, and he makes those look, he almost makes them look too easy. I mean, it's
like Manning, it makes plays look too easy sometimes at third base, whereas Nolan Arenado makes every play look like the hardest play in the history of third base.
Yeah, it's exactly right. I mean, and Grish is smooth. He's just as smooth as silk. And then getting those knocks last night, driving in those runs. Yeah, I mean, obviously you want to get Ha-Seong Kim going. You want to get Nola going. I don't know what we can really expect, but if the top of the order is firing and the bottom of the order is firing, Craig, I feel like this team's going to win a lot of baseball games, man.
They will. And, you know, the other thing to say about Tatis, and I'm sure you guys have covered it in the first hour 45 of the show, but he's a very loud right fielder. You were just talking about how Grisham can make the plays so quietly. You've got a lumbering bull out there in right field, but one with incredible agility. And obviously he shows you the top end of that with the catch in the eighth inning. With the decision to throw home, whether the cutoff man was in the right spot, that's something they could argue in the clubhouse, but that looked like kind of the erratic, no, you don't want that decision, a little bit headstrong out there in right field. In the ninth, he almost killed Ha-Seong Kim. Let's call our pop flies, please. I think this is a really good idea.
That could be a Kim issue. He's been involved in a few
out
of
in right
those
field.
In the
this
past,
is not
Greg.
the first time.
That could be a Ha-Seong Kim issue because we've seen that before on both sides of the diamond.
That's true. Tommy Pham just texted me. You're right. It's a good point. I'm just saying in general, whoever it is, let's communicate.
Communication is key.
Now, how about the reception last night? Granted, there were a lot of Padres fans there, and it won't sound like that other places, you know, Wrigley Field, where they go on the road. But I mean, I think there will be Padres fans in most places, and certainly felt very positive last night, even in Arizona on the road for Fernando.
Yeah, and it's the sample that you wanted. It's 16,000 in the park, and probably 10,000 of them are Padre fans who made the trip because it's Tatismas. Some of them I'm sure stayed for the weekend. The crowd will probably change a little bit. Arizona, let's be honest, not a really hot baseball town. As this trip continues, I think Second City is a lot more interesting. Mexico City is where Tatis may get a big reception. They are quote unquote home games, and hopefully he gets that kind of reception. It's going to be a continuing thing, but guys, it's going to be based on how he hits. And the one thing that I do think is going to take time is for him to find the comfort level at the plate to just be, and to just do what the game gives to him. Meaning, if pitchers are going to throw him nothing but sliders outside, to take that leadoff walk and turn it into a double, turn it into a triple with his legs. He's got so much capability to help the San Diego Padres. I did think he was a little bit froggy in most of his at-bats, getting to 0-1, 0-2, and just up there to swing. And obviously that second at-bat, I screamed at the Y when I thought it was going to be before I saw it look foul. I'm like, there it goes. He's going to hit one like that, and we're going to be like, everything is cool. Everything is going to be cool with Fernando Tatis Jr., one of the most talented players the game has ever seen. It's a matter of finding that slot and locking it in. And that was why the second part of my season prediction, which started with 9-11, was that the next 2-3 weeks, the Padres would be still finding their sea legs through all of this. I think it's going to take a minute. And then when it gets together, just look out.
Watch out.
So far, so good. And Craig, before we talk crossing streams and a little San Diego Sockers, just quickly, what do you think Bob Melvin and AJ Preller and Ruben Niebles should do about the rotation with Joe Musgrove coming back and a bunch of off days now in the mix? Staying with the six man could keep guys, too far between starts. Who do you pick then to drop out of the rotation? If it's one, if it's two guys, do you go with the hot hands? Do you go with the experienced guys? I think it's an interesting decision coming up.
Yeah, and here's the real complicator is that you've got 3 guys of the 6 that you would kind of call bullpen eligible in terms of they have pitched in relief at least some point in their career. And then you got 3 guys who really kind of aren't. And really 4, if you want to look at it that way, when you talk about the top 3 with Musgrove returning. I'm looking at the 6 who are there right now. So the natural thing would be to say Nick Martinez is such a good reliever, put him in relief. Nick Martinez is also a really good starter. He just threw 7 shutout innings. He's built up for being in the rotation. I think it's too early to take Nick Martinez out of the rotation and to begin the bullpen back and forth. Do I think he'll be in the playoff bullpen? 100%. The September bullpen? Most definitely. Should he be there now? No. And I think the same way about Seth Lugo. These guys signed to be starters. You don't pull the plug after 4 outings, especially when each of them have contributed. Now you get to Wacha. Wacha's not really a reliever. Is his stuff going to play up in the bullpen? His fastball was around 92 yesterday. His changeup didn't have any bite or real shape to it. Right now, he's a doubles Pez dispenser. Is that something you want in the bullpen? So it leads me to Ryan Weathers as a pitcher who can do it and wants to stay in the big leagues, and it won't mess with the mojo of the rotation. The problem is it means leaving in, you've got 2 guys, Wacha and Snell right now, who are super unreliable when they take the mound. I think you got to roll the dice and go with it. You signed Michael Wacha. You didn't sign him to be an ace. He's given you 2 good starts and 2 bad starts.
Yep. Fair, but you
Roll
still
the
have
dice.
6 guys in the starting rotation, and I don't know that plays with multiple off days coming up. You want 8 days between a Yu Darvish and a Joe Musgrove start? I don't know that works either. So you may need to pick a Wacha, a Lugo, or a Martinez, no matter what, to still go to the pen if you want to go with the 5-man rotation for a while.
That's a great point. And here's the thing, though. As soon as you decelerate into that bullpen role, what is
how do you get back?
How do you get back?
Right.
Yep.
Exactly. And if you go, okay, Lugo, you're going to be in the pen for 2 weeks. Now we want you to be a starter again. You're back to 4 innings. You're back to, and it's an issue. So
I think
that's why I'm leaning towards
I think
Weathers.
they could send Weathers
and then-
down to keep him as a starter. I mean, I know that would be tough. He doesn't deserve to go down, but you can keep him stretched out, and he's ready. If you needed a spot starter, he'll keep throwing. I mean, that's hard to do, but he's shown everything else. So
such a confidence killer.
Yeah.
It really is. And I just, he's doing so well. You don't want to mess with a guy's confidence if you don't absolutely have to. So it's a conundrum. Certainly these are good problems. There's a lot of teams in baseball that would kill for 7 guys you could go to at a moment's notice, but it's certainly, there's something, they're going to have to figure it out. We're going to ask AJ that question in about 10 minutes. So let's talk. You want to talk some soccer because you got a huge night tonight, my friend.
Yeah, this is 100% the biggest night of the year. And there isn't going to be a bigger one-night test in pro sports in San Diego than what's going to happen tonight at Pechanga Arena, San Diego. This is my call out to all the low passion neutrals, people who don't have a Padres game to go to tonight and are just thinking about being on their couch. You need to get out and get to Pechanga Arena tonight. San Diego Soccer's taking on the second best team in the league, the Chihuahua Savage. You've heard me talk about them before.
Oh, yeah.
This is a team that pushed us to the limit this round last year in the playoffs, and they've done it again. On Tuesday night, we lost a 6-5 match down in Chihuahua, down south of the border. And that means tonight the Sockers have one chance to win 2 games in the same evening, or else the season will be over. We'll play match 2 of the series at 7:35 tonight. That's a 60-minute match, a normal match. We'll have it live on Twitch for you at MASL Soccer. We'll have it live in Spanish at San Diego Soccer's. And the Sockers must win, right? Win that match, and it's not over. Win that match. Teams go into the locker room for what eventually is one halftime, a 15-minute break, and come out to play the third match of the series. Game 3, the 15 minutes long. It's called the knockout game. It's essentially starting the match at the start of the fourth quarter. And that's what the Sockers will have to prevail in order to move on to the Ron Newman Cup Finals. Chihuahua, by contrast, has 2 chances to win once.
Yeah.
And if they don't win the full match, they could pull out the short one and still move on to the championship. So it's going to be high drama, incredibly exciting. SDSockers.com, 866-799-GOAL. Come on out to the Pechanga Arena box office. We're going to have our biggest crowd of the year, but it gets bigger and more passionate. This is going to be as fun and tense and exciting as a night as there will be anywhere.
And then last week, Woods recommended it, and my wife recommended it.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, you haven't seen
I've
it?
heard a lot about it.
Shelly loved it. Beef is the show today. Quickly, Craig.
I mean, I like beef just in general.
It's what's for dinner.
It's what's
but
for
maybe
dinner.
after dinner you can put on beef on Netflix. I have too enjoyed it, Ben. I'm 3 episodes into Beef limited series on Netflix, starring Stephen Yeun and Ali Wong. This is a low stakes adult comedy. Would be the best way I could describe it. And it starts with a somewhat silly road rage incident where you are really wondering why each of the 2 participants are behaving the way they are. As the episodes unspool, you find out more about the life of Stephen Yeun's character, who is a Korean contractor that's not really getting a lot of work and is kind of scuffling, living with his brother, and Ali Wong's character, who has a successful plant business that she's trying to sell to a major retailer. She's got a lot of stress in her professional and personal life. All of that unspools as you find out more about them as each episode moves on. It's funny, relationship adjacent, mostly like if you're looking for something that isn't, the galactic destroyer is coming to end humanity, this is a great one for you. You can settle in, great relationship, like sit down on the couch with some popcorn and have a couple of laughs and a glass of wine at the end of the night. I too recommend Beef.
Craig, as always, we appreciate it. Good to see you on a Friday. Good luck to the Sockers tonight, and we will talk to you next week, my friend.
Yeah, you'll either catch me on the night of the grand final for the championship, or hopefully having recovered after a week. I'm rooting for the former.
Yeah, of course. Craig Elston on our Premier
Hey, Craig.
Chevrolet of Carlsbad.
Thanks, buddy.
Fan hotline, save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. Now, yeah, you can bring the Odyssey app and listen to the Padres on an earbud while you watch the game, or stream it on your phone and watch the Sockers game at Pechanga Arena tonight and support 2 San Diego teams at the same time.
Be a nerve-wracking game to call. Just there's nerve.
It's weird.
And then it's like
nerve-wracking
it's weird
as
because
all
it's just
get
a
out.
coin flip. for
Like
that
if you're
15
like Chihuahua and you've got the 1-0 lead and you get down like 5-1,
pressure's all.
it could be kind of like, all right, we're punting the rest of this game.
Yeah.
Save all our energy. Let them spend all their energy, and we come out roaring in that 15-minute game. We kind of it's a
strategy.
It's a bit of a strategy conundrum tonight.
It's like managing
as well.
a bullpen.
All right. Well, speaking of strategy, the guy who's got to come up with it for the Padres, the GM AJ Preller, joins us next on a Friar Friday here on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, my friends, we are halfway home on a Friday as we wait for the general manager of the San Diego Padres, AJ Preller, to join us. Any second now. Paulie is looking over at the screen, and as soon as we can get him on, we will. I know. I mean, it's not. He had something he had to do this morning before he could call into Ben and Woods. If you know AJ Preller, you know
Trade,
maybe after
roster move. What do we got going here? Something big?
Yeah, he's got
critical.
He's got he got on a game, pickup game.
Oh yeah, basketball.
He loves basketball. Paulie started his adult league basketball career last night.
Well, I resumed it.
Oh, did you play adult league basketball before?
Played like 2 or 3 years.
Oh, like official though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Down at Muni Gym downtown.
Did not know that. So
Yeah.
your team is back. What is the name of your team?
We're the Tier 1s.
The Tier 1s. That's so huge.
You know who else has probably played down at Muni, or maybe Alliant Gym, where I was playing last night, is the great AJ Preller, who joins us right now.
Oh, is he here? He's here.
You're right on the air, AJ. We're putting you right on. So, well, I mean, I'm assuming this is AJ Preller. He's calling at the right time. How you doing, man?
Hey guys, how are you?
Good. How was the game this morning?
It was good.
You played
it
well.
Was good.
Good.
Not really, actually.
good to get out there, but not your best performance.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. That's an accurate assessment for sure.
Well, you must,
I can relate.
Nevertheless, you must be feeling fairly decent after how last night played out. We know Fernando Tatis Jr. didn't get any hits, but how good was it to see him back out on the field? And what were just some of your impressions watching his return last night?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously it's great to see Toddy back on the field, and I think the energy he brings. I think just overall, I think to see the two of the team, welcome them back, even pregame, everything there, and a nice catch there in right field down the line. We played good defense, and he was a part of that. So. I think just ready to see him, get in a routine, get going, and be back in the lineup every day.
Yeah, he does. He does bring in energy, certainly, and it was awesome. It had to be a bit of a sense of relief to get him back. I know it was for our audience as well, AJ, and really this whole city that's forgiven him and ready to move on and watch him dominate. It's been pretty special. I wanted to ask you though, man. I know in any organization, I can't say the word on the radio, but it runs downhill, right? So I know that there's massive expectations for you for this team. I know there's massive expectations from the fans for this team. They've gotten off to a bit of a slow start. We've seen and heard a lot of panic. What is your assessment of your team so far after 21 games?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, like overall, we have high expectations. We expect to play well, and we like our group and our players, and feel like we should play well in all phases. And I think so far we really haven't, obviously offensively we haven't been clicking on all cylinders. And I think we've had some good starting pitching performances, but I think the consistency of what this group is capable of, game to game and getting deep in the games. I think that's an area too that that I think we all look at and we expect to play well. And I know it's easy to say, hey, it's a long season, it's only 20 games. I think we all understand that's the way baseball is. There's some ebb and flow, but in general, I think we have feel like we have a team that should play well throughout the season, and I think we all looking to get into a better rhythm and more consistent play, and play better here as we get through the next 20 games.
When it comes to a guy like Juan Soto or even Manny Machado, who are established stars, and I realize this is a coaching staff issue primarily, but I'm sure you got some thoughts on it. I'm sure there's an instinct. These guys know how to figure it out, fix themselves. You don't want to do too much, yet at the same time, when they're struggling, how much do you want to step in and start, working and pointing things out and make it impossibly worse, when he's going to break out any second now. He's Juan Soto. What you're kind of thinking when stars like that struggle a bit at the plate?
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, baseball's a game of adjustments, even for the best guys and the best players. So, I think there's always like little tweaks and things that all the players on our roster and our coaching staff is constantly looking at. Again, I think, we've got a lot of faith in this group and what this group's going to do over the course of the season. But, that doesn't mean that it's always, hey, just stay the course. And, you want like you know, these guys are, they're constantly like, making little tweaks and adjustments. I don't think it's any different for Manny or Juan. And I think we're just, I think that, the flip of it is, we haven't played our best baseball and we're sitting here, at 500. And, I think that's at least for us, like we know when we do start clicking, with the group and everybody starts, doing what they're capable of doing. I think that's exciting because I think we've kind of, held the line here for the first 20 games. And, I think when we do get in that rhythm and start playing well, it's exciting for what we can be.
Talking to Padres general manager AJ Preller here on Ben and Woods this morning. Always appreciate the time, AJ. I know the Campusano injury was a bummer because he was starting to come around a little bit. Number one, how's he feeling? And then what is kind of your plan moving forward? We sat down with Austin at spring training. We were all really expecting a big year for him. He played well. Then he got hit with the fastball in the face, and that's certainly awful. But I know he hasn't played as well as he expects to so far. What is kind of the plan moving forward in the catching position?
Yeah, I think again, like Campy, both those guys had great spring trainings. Looking very prepared for the season. I think with Campy, it's he's starting to get a couple big hits and catching the ball well, and then he basically took has a issue with the left thumb, from a ligament standpoint. So he's on the IL right now. We're hoping it's going to be more of a sooner rather than later type thing, but I think it's, we'll know more over the next few days with how he responds to treatment and some rest and everything like that. So I think he's a big part of things for us. So I think getting him back would be important. And then with Nola, obviously he struggled here so far offensively, and I think he can contribute a lot of different ways, behind the dish and, catching, receiving, handling the staff. But again, I think he'll be the first to tell you that he's expecting himself to contribute at the bat. And, so far, I think we know that he's what we saw in spring training, what we saw at different stretches last year, the postseason, he's capable of doing that. And I think those guys are going to get the majority of the touches. Brett Sullivan just got called up. And he can swing the bat as well from the left side, but I think with Nolan Campy, anxious to get them going and get Campy back here at some point, hopefully sooner rather than later.
Everyone's excited to see Joe Musgrove back tomorrow and making his season debut, but also feels like it's going to lead to what may be your toughest decision of the first month of the season, and how to handle the starting rotation going forward. Don't have to make that call this second, so I won't ask you what it is, but how are you going to decide when you've got a 6-man rotation going right now, you're bringing a 7th guy in, and all of a sudden you get a bunch of off days on the schedule? You don't want your stars like you and Joe to go too far between starts either. What are the factors going into this decision coming up?
Yeah, no, I think that's been part of the discussion over the last few days, and no, we've had this stretch, and I think the good part is, we've seen Ryan Weather step up and throw the ball well, and put himself in the conversation there to start, be a factor for us this year. But getting Joe back will be huge. Getting Darvish, going every 5 or 6 days is big. I think again we have a lot of off days coming up, I believe, in the schedule over the course of the next 3 or 4 weeks. So we want to make sure that that the starters are getting regular work, and I think we're looking at this over the 162 and over the long haul. Starting with the 6-man rotation, we also don't want to get to a spot where guys are too much time in between and they can't get into that good rhythm and tempo, and not as crispy because of it. So those are the things that we're looking at. I think we probably have the luxury to move a starter or two into the pen for the next few weeks, and I think just kind of weighing that out versus making sure that these guys have some extra rest, understanding it's a long season. And I think we'll start making some adjustments when Joe comes back here this weekend, and start letting the different guys on the team kind of feel where things are at. But for right now, it's more discussion, and I think we'll have some thoughts here over the next few days about what's the best way to go through the next 3 or 4 weeks. And I think that's the way you handle it. Like last year, there were points in time where we went with a 6-man. There were points in time where we shortened it up and wanted to get our top guys on the mound more often. I think we're constantly trying to look ahead and, hey, what's the best for this stretch, depending on the opponents, the schedule, what's the best for our staff. And, that's some of the decisions we'll have here over the course of the next few days.
How hard is that conversation to have? And who has it? Is it you? Is it Bob? Is it the two of you guys together? How does that work? I mean, if you had to go to a veteran like Michael Wacha or even Seth Lugo, the guys that you brought in to be starters, and really, let's be honest, they're back of the rotation guys that you want them to chew up some innings. How hard is that conversation to have with those guys and say, listen, this is where we need you now, and we're trying to win a World Series?
I mean, it'd take a lot. Obviously we have a group here from baseball operations, front office, R&D, scouting group, taking a lot of different opinions. But on this case, a lot of it comes down to Bob and Ruben and their feel for the staff and what they want to do. And then just being honest with the players. I think that's the biggest thing. Is sometimes guys may have different ideas or thoughts about role or their spot in the roster and how that comes up. And as long as we're just having honest conversations, that's what we try to do with each one of the guys. At times you can give them a heads up and give them hey, this is how things may play out over the next few weeks. Other times this is what's best for the ball club. And I think the biggest thing we have a lot of talented guys on our team and our roster and our pitching staff. But the one thing I think we've talked about, even before signing some of the guys this off season, is, we're here to win a championship, and that's first and foremost. And, we're going to make decisions we think are, hopefully best for the individual, but definitely best for the team. And I think we have a lot of guys that understand that's the number one thing. And we're going to do what we feel like is best there, and, be real clear with the players. And, again, like when you have a talented roster and a lot of good players, that creates competition and some tough conversations, but ultimately, it's all about what's best for the team. And, I think, Bob, myself, Ruben, others, depending on the player and the situation, will have those talks when needed.
So clearly today is not the day you need an 8th starter, but depth is always good. I'm just curious, how's Cole Hamels doing?
Yeah. Honestly, I think I think for Cole, probably the biggest thing we've talked about is, I think for him, getting, probably more as we get into the summer months. Honestly, I think we're probably looking at hey, is he an option as we get into June? I think we feel like you're saying. I think we have a lot of starting options to start the season. Had a couple guys step up here with Weathers and Groom, in spring training. And I think with Cole, it's just kind of hey, for him, he's obviously been one of the best pitchers in the game, and he's a guy that in spring training, showed, that he's still great delivery, still throws strikes, still has the changeup. But I think it's just more hey, is he an option for us as we get into, in my mind, kind of into the summer months? Does he become an option here as we get into that portion of it? And nothing's really changed on that front. I think for him, it's that's what we're gearing towards, seeing if he could be an option for us as we go. And you're always trying to add to that starting pitching depth, and I think that was what we're trying to do with the Hamels signing.
Talking to AJ Preller, last one for me, AJ, back to the catching position. I know that there have been in your tenure a lot of guys you were really excited about. And, sometimes an organization, all the time, the organization knows more about the player than maybe the pundits do. When I see reports coming out about Ethan Salas from even the saltiest and disbelievers, Keith Law, about Ethan Salas and what he is capable of at 16 years old, how hard is it for you not to get way ahead of yourself? Obviously, you're not going to call him up now. That would be insanity. But
as Woods pointed out, he's not even allowed to work past 9 o'clock.
Yeah, I think there's an hour limit on what you can actually work him. That said, though, I mean, the kid, by all accounts, and again, like I said, from the saltiest disbelievers, it's just the reports on that dude have been glowing. And so, feasibly, what is a feasible expectation for that young man?
Yeah, I don't think we want, we're not going to put any limits on it. I think he's somebody that's opened a lot of eyes here. Obviously on the tryout scene, beforehand when you're recruiting him and trying to sign him. And then I think Chris Kemp, Trevor Shum, Cliff Derrick, so a lot of guys on the international side spend just a lot of time scouting him, recruiting him, talking to him about the Padres and, how he fits in with us. And then post-signing, you never really know 100%. I think with a player like an Ethan Salas has a lot of talent, ability, and great makeup. You feel like, fairly comfortable, obviously, that he's got a chance to be an impactful player. I think in the last couple months since we signed him, whether it's been at the mini camps, catching guys, maybe twice his age and looking really comfortable doing it, impressing Bob Melvin and others that obviously have a lot of experience looking at catchers. And then spring training and now into this extended spring period. He just keeps, again, like the things we put in front of him, the challenges we put in front of him, he keeps excelling. So that's really exciting. And where this goes. And, again, I think we signed him hoping he's a frontline player for the Padres for a long time. And, it's only been a month or two and he hasn't gotten to an official minor league game yet. But I think he's making himself, by the way he goes about his business, his work ethic, and then obviously his talent on the field. He's putting himself in conversation to go out and play at a high level at a super young age. And, again, I think we never really focus on, hey, he needs to be here at this point in time with any of our prospects. It's more about, hey, is this process? This is what we're going to ask him to do. And if they check these boxes, we're not afraid to move guys. And I think Ethan's putting himself in that conversation with the way he's going about his business and, the things he's doing in Arizona right now. So it's exciting, and hopefully he gets out to a full season affiliate here sooner rather than later, and gets a chance to continue building his experience and get more at bats, because he's a guy that's opened a lot of eyes early in the process.
So 20-year contract extension, or do you think he can get to 25 right now? Is that fair?
Yeah, I think the thing is at 16 years old, yes, I think for him he's somebody that is going to play for a long time.
I
So
lied.
we'll see how it works.
I lied. I have one more question. I wanted to ask you about the report that came out over the weekend early in the week from Rob Manfred, talking about wanting to maybe limit some of the contract lengths
good question,
and
Woods.
things like that, because
the AJ Preller rule,
dude. Well, it's like I said it. I said, man, these little Padres here have really turned baseball on its
We're
ear.
a hell of a lot more influential than I think we gave ourselves credit for.
You've got owners name checking our owner. I mean, it's wild what has really transpired, and I do feel like a lot of people are rooting against the Padres because of some of the things that we've done, and when you hear something like that, it's made its way basically all the way to the biggest office in the land of, we may need to take a closer look at what some of these guys do. And, Ben jokes about it, but do you feel that heat at all from the commissioner's office?
I mean, I think our we've got enough focus on trying to beat the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers and Giants and Rockies. So I think that's where my focus goes to. I think, again, you can just I think it's a good thing in terms of when there's attention placed on the organization. I think just again speaks to what we're trying to build and what we're in the process of doing. And I think even like early part of the season, there's been, I think, 3 series in a row where the opposing team, I think quotes where this felt like a playoff series. And I think that speaks to the fact that, when people come in, there's eyes on us and people looking at what we're doing and feeling like there's some respect there, hopefully, and, wanting to play at a high level. And, I think in terms of how that factors in with baseball and everything like that, I think baseball does a great job of putting in rules, and have done a lot of things the last few years to make the game more exciting in terms of contract length and everything like that. We'll focus more on the rotation and how we're gonna handle the next few weeks and this current road trip in Mexico City, and hopefully winning a game tonight against the D-backs. So
just silence notifications from the commissioner on your phone, like Paul does to me. You can there's a feature that you can use.
I loved that hustle from Nelly Cruz last night. I think he's got 10 more years in him. I'm thinking long-term deal right there as well. AJ, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Let's get back to your day. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
AJ Preller. And yeah, they probably will call it the AJ Preller rule if they ever do come up with something like that.
Wild,
on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads.
I got some reaction to that. I wanted to
it was a good
share.
question.
I want to talk about his answer really to the assessment of his team. I think it's important, and I think it's different than what I expected.
All right, we'll react. We can take some of your tweets at Ben and Woods if you want to join us, or in the chat on the YouTube stream, what you just heard from AJ Preller. Let us know, and we'll come back after traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. Thanks again to Padres Vice President of Baseball Operations and General Manager AJ Preller.
I felt bad because I couldn't remember the other part of his title, so I kept just calling him general manager, but he's more than that, so I didn't have it in front of me.
In a baseball sense, people around the league know him as the GM of the Padres. He's been around long enough that you start adding titles to your name, but essentially the job remains the same.
There's no other titles. Senior morning show host?
Yeah, I like that.
All right, I'll take it.
Perhaps
Vice President of Ben and Woods Operations. Actually, President was elected. So, President. I am actually President of Ben and Woods Operations.
The people voted.
I'm going to appoint Paulie as my Vice
Morning
President.
Market Manager.
Paulie is our Vice President, and you,
I accept your nomination.
Lord Vacation, is our what is
Secretary of Travel.
You're my administrative assistant.
Thank you.
You're integral. You're a Secretary of Defense.
I'm the CFO.
The CFO. Yes, Colonel Budget. How can I forget?
Secretary of Homeland Exploration.
Hi, guys. It's Ben. I'm going to be exploring my homeland once again for 5 days. Secretary of Homeland Exploration. This is my favorite.
Very fancy way to say the guy goes on vacation.
Can you write that down, please? Because that's how we'll start opening the show every day. No longer your friendly neighborhood sports anchor. Our Secretary of Homeland Exploration, Benjamin Higgins.
I always like the word comptroller, even though I never really understood what it meant.
Just call it a control. There's a controller and a
comptroller.
You control the people's
something
comp.
to do with the compensation of people or something. I don't know. It's money related, I think. And
Call Insperity for your HR
There
needs
you go.
instead of
all right.
calling
So,
us.
so your takeaway involved his answer to the question about the 21 game start.
Yeah, it wasn't super spicy by any stretch, but I will say this, talking to AJ now we have for many, many years. I was surprised. Sometimes you ask a question just because you have to ask it, and then you know kind of what to expect. I fully expected my question. You ask me what, and I'll tell you what I thought he was going to say. Ask me about the
AJ, a game under 500 through 21. Overall, just how are you feeling about your team's start this season?
Yeah, we're not going to panic at all. We know we've got really good players here. It's such a long season, guys. We got 140 of these things to go. Plus hopefully a nice long sustained playoff
tamping
run.
Down.
Any panic,
potential critiques or
panic.
With some perspective. That wouldn't have been wrong if he had said that.
But I don't want to say I was impressed, but I was very pleased, I guess, with his answer of, the expectations are high and we have championship aspirations.
Yeah, I think for us, like overall, we have high expectations. We expect to play well, and we like our group and our players, and feel like we should play well in all phases. And I think so far we really haven't. Obviously offensively we haven't been clicking on all cylinders, and I think we've had some good starting pitching performances, but I think the consistency of what this group is capable of, game to game and getting deep in the games. I think that's an area too that that I think we all look at and we expect to play well. And I know it's easy to say, hey, it's a long season, it's only 20 games. I think we all understand that's the way baseball is. There's some ebb and flow, but in general, I think we have feel like we have a team that should play well throughout the season, and I think we all looking to get into a better rhythm and more consistent play, and play better here as we get through the next 20 games.
Honestly, that's about as spicy as you're going to get from AJ Preller.
Imagine if we had a national baseball writer or like a Jeff Passan on, and we asked him, what did you think about the Padres 21 game start? He would probably say something to the effect of, this team should be performing better offensively, and while they've gotten some good pitching starts,
they need more consistency,
there, and you would expect them to play better than they have. I don't think that's any less hard on the Padres than a neutral, experienced baseball observer would comment on the first 21 games. And I'll give AJ credit. You could throw in the fact that they've played very hot teams, good teams,
no
the
doubt.
Braves, the Mets, the Diamondbacks have played very well to start this season. their strength of schedule, not that that's a thing as much as it is in football, but I think it's right there, 1 or 2 right now in all of baseball, given the quality of their opponents so far this season. So you can throw that out there and say, we're fine. Or, we've been playing a tough part of our schedule with no off days whatsoever. And, we're not like 7 games under 500. It's okay.
Yeah, everyone relax out there. He didn't give you the Aaron Rodgers. He didn't. And again, just knowing him like we know him, and reading him between the lines a little bit. I mean, he pretty much said it. We expect to play better, and we expected to play better the entire season. So I do feel, and I'm not saying he's in there, dropping bombs on these guys, but I think that there was definitely an undertone of, all right, it's time. Let's get it going. Let's get it going now. Let's get more consistency. And that's just pressure. And that's what it is. And we say it all the time. Pressure is a privilege. You want to have a team like this that has a tremendous amount of pressure on it. Let's see how the guys react. And I know, like we know him, that was for him. That was pretty telling.
I want to hear from the tier ones. We got a segment here where we can open up the phone lines. Tony Gwynn Jr. is going to join us at the top of the hour, but give us a call, 833-288-0973. Either react to the game last night, to Fernando Tatis Jr.'s return, to something you heard AJ Preller say, anything, Padres related at least. We are certainly willing to discuss this morning, and we can do that up next. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Out to the tier ones when we come back here on 97.3 The Fan. Breaking news on 97.3 The Fan is presented by BetQL. Smarter bets start with BetQL. Download the BetQL app or visit BetQL.com today. The NFL just announcing they suspended 5 players, including 4 members of the Detroit Lions and 3 players for a full season or indefinitely through the conclusion of the season for gambling violations.
Wow.
Now, no huge names. It is Quintez Cephus and CJ Moore of the Detroit Lions and Shaka Toney of the Washington Commanders, who were suspended at least a year, if not more, and then Stanley Berryhill and Jamison Williams of the Lions suspended for 6 games each. The gambling policy, they reviewed and uncovered no evidence, they say, indicating any inside information was used or that any game was compromised in any way. A lot of questions still lingering on that announcement, though. I mean, is this people doing like FanDuel?
Are they
or
FanDueling?
DraftKings,
Yeah, right.
or are they betting on games that don't involve their own team, or are they betting on their own team? Or are they Pete Rosing it? You've opened yourself up to some questions here with this announcement and significant suspensions this morning in the NFL.
And those suspensions were brought to you by FanDuel, official gambling website of the NFL.
I'm sensing a bit of hypocrisy, you feel like, in the stringency of their gambling rules and the money that they're taking from gambling companies.
Well,
I get that.
And it's not, hey man, it's not just the NFL. We talked to Eno Saris yesterday about what the Oakland A's are going to be doing, moving to Las Vegas, and it's the MGM money. He said you can't turn it down. I mean, that's they're going to buy that franchise, and it's been in place for a while, and it's a real bummer, and I'm sure we'll talk a lot more about it, but the gambling money is going to fund a Major League Baseball stadium and team, and the players will have to abide by the strict gambling rules. That is brought to you by MGM Grand.
We got some calls here for some Padres talk. 833-288-0973. We'll get right out to the phones. Let's see. Katie is going to be first up. We got Brad, Isaac, Eric waiting in the wings right after this check of traffic here at 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Damick.
Traffic is sponsored by Gomez Trial Attorneys. Seriously injured? Get a real trial attorney. Get Gomez. Seeing some residual slowing westbound King Freeway toward this earlier accident near Home Avenue. Accident on westbound 8 just before Mollison. Looks like that is in the center divide. Also going to find on westbound 78 just before College, an accident being cleared over to the right shoulder. If you've been injured in a car, truck, or motorcycle accident, Gomez Trial Attorneys is ready to fight for you all the way to trial. Get a real trial lawyer. Get Gomez. Call 833-GET-GOMEZ. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, just had AJ Preller on, had the Tatis debut last night. Padres have won 2 straight, and our tier ones, you got a whole segment here to join us. Let's go out to our phone lines. Again, 833-288-0973. And as promised, Katie, you are first up here on a Friday morning with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Hi, Katie.
Good morning, Ben Woodsy. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning. What a great game last night.
Oh,
yes. And it's beautiful today.
Yeah, beautiful day. It's all coming up Padres right now.
It is. It is. So my husband and I were talking last night during the game, and we're born and raised San Diego, and we just think it's laughable right now that there's so much controversy around the money that we're throwing at these players to have a long-standing team in a city that has been just supporting this team no matter what, right? Through the years, through and through. And it's funny to me because we've always been a farm team. We've always been farming out our boys to all these other teams, and now we've come to a Moneyball decision with AJ Preller, and he's decided he's going to invest in these players for years and years, and they're here and they want to be here, and we're gelling, we're doing great, and everyone has a problem with it now, and I think it's just so funny that we've got our finances in order. We've got fans that want to come, it's time to pay the tithing to the church and pay our money and come and watch you guys play. And everyone has a problem with it now.
Yeah, it's very
like
odd.
These other teams, they need to pay their management less and put more money into their players and get their community in and watching these games. And that's what's happening with us. And I don't see a problem with it.
Yep. Yeah, it's a great call, great point. I said it the other day. The only reason that Dick Manfart from the Rockies and Bob Nutting from the what great names, by the way. It's just fantastic. Manfart and Nutting. Why they call our guys out by name is it makes them look terrible. It makes them look bad, and they don't want to look bad. They're owners of a baseball team, and it makes them look terrible when one owner goes, I don't like this. This doesn't feel right. I'm going to make sure that we take care of players. I'm going to treat them like family, and I'm going to bring them in, and we're going to get this core, and we're going to get them locked up. And it makes owners that let guys walk, like Nolan Arenado, and end up paying $50 million for a cornerstone player to go to the St. Louis Cardinals. It makes guys look bad, because Peter Seidler and AJ Preller are not going to let that happen. They're not.
Well, just to address what Katie said, and you hear complaints, most of the complaints are coming from outside the confines of Padres fandom. But we're sports fans. I mean, we'll complain that we won the World Series in 5 games instead of 4 if that's the way it plays out. So you're never going to silence all the critics. No matter how you run your team, there will be critics out there, and ultimately you'll be judged, on your record. But I understand. I mean, if I was a fan of another team, you have a choice right now. You can either criticize the Padres for what they're doing, or you can criticize your own team for what they're not doing. And some people choose to, they don't want to they want to be good fans. They want to support their own team. So it's either be that guy who's saying, well, why aren't we doing what the Padres are doing? Or you go and you say, Padres can't be doing what they're doing. That's not sustainable. You've got 2 choices, one or the other. And I get why some fans go that direction, because they don't want to criticize their own team. I know a lot of Padres fans feel that way as well. When the Padres were that team, and they were for many years, that team that tried to do it on the cheap, that let the stars get away. We'd throw money on the field when Kevin Brown came back with the big spending LA Dodgers. We could have instead praised the Dodgers for going out and trying to put a winner on the field and, criticize the Padres, but for
letting them go. Yeah.
Who wants to do that if you're a Padres fan? So I understand why it's coming from outside the organization. I really do.
No question.
All right, let's go to Isaac. You are next up here with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Good morning, Isaac.
What's up? What's up?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
What's up, Isaac?
What's up?
What's up?
How's your day going?
It's good.
It's fantastic.
How about you?
Good.
Yeah, you on your way to school, or what's going on?
Yeah, I'm literally at my school right now, but I'm parking. I just want to say, Tatis came back. I'm really happy about that. And this year is gonna be the year for us. We're gonna make it to the playoffs. Let's just hope we can win our first World Series. That's all I'm saying.
Isaac, I love
excited.
that call.
Have a great
What
Friday.
grade are you in, Isaac?
What grade are you in?
6th grade.
Sixth grade.
Wow, and he's parking the car right now.
Yeah, you're okay.
Shout out to 6th grade.
Shout out to 6th grade. Great year, by the way. 6th grade was.
I did like
Isaac. Have fun today. Okay.
Now, did your junior high, was it a 7th, 8th, 9th, or 7th, 8th? How did you do? A middle
we
school?
We did
K through 6.
Some go
8,
through
9.
5, and then 6, 7, 8. There's different ones.
We did 7 and 8 together. That was junior high, and then 9 through 12.
I did the same thing for high school.
Yeah, K through 6 was elementary school. Middle school was just 7th and 8th.
7th and 8th.
High school.
So
9
6th grader, you were big man on little campus.
Big man on little.
It was weird. That's
my
already
first French kiss was in 6th
I was
grade.
I was the student. I was the student president in 6th grade.
Of course you were.
And I got to be the MC of our talent show up on stage at Parkdale Lane Elementary School.
I need video.
I don't
from
think it
Kim
exists.
Higgins.
I don't
Please
think it
dig
still
through
exists.
the archive.
That's already such a rough age for kids.
It
Like
is.
6, 7,
There
8.
was a couple
grade
piano
is like
recitals.
12, 13, 14 years old, somewhere in
Yeah.
there. So you are, and you go from 6th
6th
grade.
grade, you're not 12, are you?
Does anyone venture a guess on how I won the election for student body president in 6th grade?
Something about promising.
You laundered money for your campaign.
He would never.
I ran unopposed and had to be asked by a teacher, could you run because no one else is running? How I won my 6th grade student president election, everybody.
And then you got beat out by me several years later.
Joke candidate would have probably trounced me, but no one threw their hat
You
into
had
the
Russian
ring.
bots.
Oh, we got to get an update. Look who he called yesterday on the drive out to Arizona.
He texted
He
me
was
too.
at the game. I saw some pictures last night. We got Ryan Cohen on the line here on 97.3 The Fan. Hi, Ryan.
You got it.
I'm living up to my promises. I texted Woods back and I called back the next day.
He did.
I did my part.
Made it safely.
He texted me. He said, "I made it." And LFG San Diego. So how did it go last night?
It was so fun, man. I was out kind of near. I was on the right field line, so getting to see Tatis up close. And I mean, there weren't a ton of fans there because it's Arizona.
Right.
But of the fans there, it was overwhelmingly Padres, especially on that first base right field line, and loud. And it was just a blast being around a ton of Padres fans out in the desert, and really, really happy I was able to be there.
That's awesome. Somebody just put in the group chat, Ben ate lunch in the teacher's lounge. With the teachers. Ryan, were you?
I was very friendly with the teachers. Through all grades.
Ryan, were you? I bet you were. Were you student class something, president, vice president, something?
No, I was busy getting up at like 6 a.m. to go check the newspaper to check if the Padres won the night before. I didn't have time for the student body president.
Yeah, who does?
Ben with his student tie.
Yes. That's somebody said yesterday. I think Ben wore a bow tie to elementary school, which is just amazing. So, are you going tonight?
Yeah, I'm gonna go tonight. So I gotta tell you guys, I was planning. This was kind of like a random trip. I was like, I'll just sleep in the car again. I'll park somewhere in the desert and sleep in the car. But I was so happy last night after the win that I decided to splurge, go big time, and I'm at a Motel 6. And let me tell you, the place that you guys stayed with the doo-doo shower.
Yeah, doo-doo curtains.
I think this place makes that place look like a Ritz-Carlton. This does not.
Did Adam book your hotel?
Yeah, did Adam Klug book your hotel for you?
I mean, the hotel we stayed at was closer to Chase Field than it was Peoria, Arizona. I'll say that.
Also true. Do you need me to send you some money, son? Because I don't. The thought of you sleeping in the desert in your car is something that, people that smoke meth do. So I'm happy to send you $100, bro. Like, it'd be my pleasure.
You're living in a hostel.
I'm young and dumb and having a blast. Why would I do it any other way?
Holy cow! Yeah, I guess at that age, I was that way. I'd like sleep on a floor. I slept one time. Thank you.
You're
Ryan.
gonna be shocked by this. I was not,
dude.
Still wanted my 5-star hotel, even at Ryan Cohen's age.
Yeah, even at 21.
Did not want to sleep in my car in the desert.
When I was 21, I went to Las Vegas to see a Pearl Jam show without a hotel room and without money to. I had plenty of money to gamble and for other illegal activities. I slept in the hallway of my buddy would not let me in his room, so I slept outside his door in the hallway one night,
along with the room service tray,
and I ate off of his room service tray. I'm not kidding. So you do what you have to do. The thought of that now repulses me. I won't even share a room with anybody, so I can't even imagine living that way. But he is a young man, and Ryan, if you need some money, I'm happy to help, buddy.
I don't need anything but some love and some Padres wins, baby.
You got it.
That.
Get
Thank
another
you, Ryan.
dub tonight,
Ryan
buddy.
Cohen. Let's keep it going. 833-288-0973. Let's go to Brad. You are next up here on 97.3 The Fan.
Morning, guys.
Morning, Brad.
Hi, bud.
Hey, just want to say sorry about your German Shepherd there, Ben.
That was mine. Thank you. Appreciate it.
And, Woodsy, man, I've been listening to you since back in the BC and Woods days.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
So, your humor's been killing me ever since. So,
Thank you. Appreciate it.
With that said, I just want to say I love what our Padres are doing, obviously, with everything with the signings and all the stuff we did all the offseason, and just love what we're doing. And I just got to chuckle at the anxiousness and anxiety there was getting over this start. I mean, it was kind of expected with Musgrove being out and you kind of coming in not very stretched out.
Yeah.
And, Tatis not coming back late. I mean, we kind of figured 500 was right where we're going to be, and we're right there.
Yeah.
And we're hitting horrible, so we're only going to go up. And it's just, to me, it's all roses. I mean, everyone's going to start coming out of these funks, and we're going to just light this thing up. So I just don't get all this angst and just, everyone's picking apart Bob's moves and stuff, and it's just like, God, it's just, when I gotta love it. We've been so downtrodden for so many years. We finally got a product. kind of struggling, and everyone just freaks out.
Yeah, it's a good point, Brad. Thank
It
you.
is a good point.
If you think that Juan Soto is going to be hitting 183 when this season ends, I don't know what to tell you. If you think Manny Machado is going to be hitting 229 with a 301 slugging percentage at the end of this season, yeah, things went horribly wrong. I mean, 99.9%, those guys are going to get their numbers because they always do, which means they've got some big stretches still ahead, and this team's going to play really well when those guys are playing well.
When Jay Stingler was here, we heard it every single day. We haven't played our best baseball yet, and boy, we even bought into that. And it's not because of where we work; it's just because we bought into it. We believed in those players.
In hindsight, I don't think he was lying to us.
They never did.
They
play
just
their best
never played their best.
They never played their best.
But they
best baseball.
weren't playing up to what they should have played.
No question about it. There's no question. So it is part of the old enjoy the ride mantra. The ride can get a little bumpy at times. There's no question. I'm not going to be mad at the overreaction. My expectation was better than 500. It was, even with Joe being out and even with you not being fully stretched out. My expectation was much better than 500. I'll be completely honest. Mine was probably around 750 winning percentage. So I think AJ Preller's, based on his comments to us today, I think his expectations were higher.
I do. I mean, I see some people who go,
I
can't believe the Padres aren't 16-5 right now. If they were 16-5 through this stretch of the schedule with no off days and playing the teams that they've played, you'd be looking at a 135 win team, which would be great. I mean, yeah, I thought this would be a very good Padres team. I wasn't predicting the greatest team in the history of baseball. So this start is not really that far under where a good team should be right now. That's my opinion.
I disagree, but I mean, yeah, I definitely thought it would be better than one game below 500.
Well, yeah, it should be a little bit better. But I mean, I was thinking, through that stretch, if they were 12-9 right now, that's pretty decent. Okay, they're 2 games behind that. They're not 10 games where they should be.
No doubt.
All right,
It's
Eric,
it's average.
if you want to hang on, we do have Tony Gwynn Jr. coming up next, but I will get you on after that if you want to be patient. Last hour of Ben and Woods of the week coming up next on 97.3 The Fan. We'll be right back. Final hour of Ben and Woods on a Friday. And we've said it before. It's not easy to have to get up as early as we do every single morning. But the payoff always comes on Friday morning when we get to be done at 10 a.m.
Yes.
And then we got to laugh at the afternoon hosts who still have to wait all the way until 2 o'clock to start their show and work all the way into the night.
We typically don't want to make fun of our guests
right.
that we're about
I'm
to
not
bring
making
on.
fun of him. He works very hard. I mean, obviously, he's one of the hardest working guys in San Diego media. See him all over the place, including on our Padres broadcast here on 97.3 The Fan. We should really do this more often, but
We
I know
should.
he works so hard. I hate making him get up in the morning, but we are joined right now by Tony Gwynn Jr. here on 97.3 The Fan. Tony, good morning to you.
Good morning. I appreciate you guys thinking about me not having to get up super early all the time. So, yes, I very much appreciate that.
And I assume he's in a better hotel than Ryan Cohen is this morning at the Motel 6 in Phoenix.
Or Ben and Woods, typically. Right.
Yeah, it's safe to say I'm in a nice hotel.
You mean when you travel on the road with the Padres, Adam doesn't book your hotels 45 minutes away?
I've learned from you guys. I've learned from Kristen Scraby not to let Adam book my hotel room.
His eyes are rolled to the back of his head right now. So, I know you, Tony, were excited like all of us to see Fernando Tatis Jr. I know your partner was very excited. He said it on Tuesday when we had him on for our weekly hit with Jesse Aguilar. Man, I love watching this kid play baseball. How could you not? He is an electric factory. He is everything that you could want in a baseball player. He can do everything on the field. I watched, all of his ABs last night, and it's one of my favorite words in baseball, Tony, hitterish. He looked hitterish last night, and he just missed a couple of rips. I expect a few knocks this weekend for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about Fernando. He always looks hitterish.
He does.
There's very few times that I can remember him being in a box and it didn't look like he was about to do damage. But, I mean, I think it's important to remember last game before yesterday was October 3rd, 2021.
Yep.
And that's a long time to miss big league games. And I know he had the 1,800 OPS in AAA, but those two things aren't the same. And yesterday, what I saw was a dude who was just, over anxious at times, and he still put two good swings on. I think he had two balls over 100 miles an hour off the bat. So, I mean, it's safe to say that, despite him missing so much time, he still looked pretty comfortable despite missing all that time yesterday.
Yeah, I thought there were a couple of check swings, like two strikes were good sliders, and he pulled up, and to me that tells me he's seeing the ball like he's been up for a while. I mean, you could speak to that more, but that stood out to me, Tony.
I agree. I think there was only one swing he took, and it was the fly out to right, or it might have just been a foul ball. I can't remember at this point, but it was in off the plate. He took a hat, but outside of that, he really did a good job managing the zone for somebody who hadn't played at this level in quite some time. So I just think the more at bats he starts to get, the more relaxed he'll be, and the more we'll get to see Toddy be Toddy.
I love talking hitting with you and anybody that played the game at the highest level. And I it's just such a fascinating thing to me. And I know something, when the team is scuffling and the offense is listless a little bit, there's a bunch of things that go into that. One thing that people like to throw around is approach. I just don't like these guys' approach. And is it as somebody that played and obviously, knows a lot about hitting, come from a nice pedigree of hitting, Tony, when you see that, when you hear that, what do you think about that? Number one, is it an easy way to just kind of discount how hard it is to hit a baseball?
Yeah, I mean that's exactly what it is. It's a easy way to really kind of poo-poo the work that goes into any approach. Because I think what people forget is that guy on the mound, right, who gets paid handsomely as well as the dude in the box, his job is to try to mess up your timing in whatever way that may be. And listen, sometimes it's accurate, right? The approach isn't good, but most of the time it's not. Most of the time, when you're in the box and you have a game plan, let's say last night, who pitched for? Nelson. Nelson was pounding fastballs early, He was using the slider a little bit late, but he was on the attack. And so, for the most part, the Padres did what they're supposed to do, right? If you're going to attack us with fastballs, we're going to be aggressive. And, although they didn't have a ton of hits, I think they ended with 7, the damage they did in those 7 was enormous. And so they took advantage of what they got. Now, it's baseball. So, 2.5 out of 10 times you get a knock, you're doing something most of the time.
Yeah.
And so, I just think it's easy when a team is struggling, especially offensively, to go, oh, man, their approach stinks, man. They're taking too many pitches. Well, some of that is due to the guy on the mound actually doing his job well, so you take the ebbs and flows of the season, especially offensively, because as cold as they were for that last week, there's going to be weeks where they are extremely hot, and it won't matter if they're taking pitches or swinging first pitch, there's going to be damage done. And I just think you just got to kind of just go with the flow of the season. Now, that doesn't mean that there won't be times where the approach is not great or not good. But that's kind of all part of this process. It's very rare that if I've ever seen a team handle an approach from game 1 to game 162 and do it perfectly.
And do it the same way every time. It's such a game. Yeah, it's such a game of adjustments. One thing I will say, and the numbers bear it out, the Padres have not been good, which is crazy, against the fastball this year. They just haven't been able to square up as many fastballs as they would like, and it as well as I do. When you get in that box, that's what you want. You don't want to see that slider. You don't want to see that Devin Williams airbender. You don't want to see that splitter. If you can get a fastball, barreling it, do you think that's just a symptom of, hey man, we're 2 weeks into the season? Some guys were gone for the It's weird. Like you see Soto tearing the cover off the ball in the WBC, gets here and has struggled a little bit. He's still hitting the ball hard, still getting on base, but definitely not that attack mode we've seen him in, like we saw him in the WBC.
Yeah, a couple things. I think, in some ways, we've seen this symptom from the Padres before, right? They weren't great on the fastball last year. And that turned out to be a full season of it, but how far did they get, right?
Yeah,
they
true.
got to
Very true.
they got to an NLCS. They got hot at the right time. And so, yes, ideally, you want to hit the fastball. I think everybody wants to hit the fastball. I think most guys go up there looking fastball. Early in the season, at this point in the season, yes, I think it's more of a symptom of 2-3 weeks into a season and guys still getting going. In most places, I would probably guess that the fastball, everybody's down on the fastball this time of year because it's usually cold in most of these spots, and cold weather and hitting they don't mix.
It doesn't jive.
So
no.
I think right now, if you're asking me in terms of the fastball or with the average against the fastballs, I'd say it's more of a symptom of it being early. Now, that doesn't mean, as I said last year, the Padres weren't great on fastball. They were towards the bottom of the league in that category, but I have a hard time believing this lineup will be the same way. I just do.
I'll second that, by the way. Even as a golfer, when you go to the range first thing in the morning, those first few swings in the cold and just trying to get it out, it's just hard.
It's hard when it's hot, dude. It's hard. It's hard when it's hot. It's hard when it's cold. It's
talking
to
bad comp.
Yeah,
Tony Gwynn Jr. here on 97.3 The Fan.
I know what you meant, Ben.
Thank you, Tony. So you often hear about professional athletes having to shut out the noise during a season and not listening to what's going on in the media, and I totally get why that happens. Now, yesterday Woods kind of went on a rant about Max Scherzer and Brian Kenny from MLB Network, who called out Joe Musgrove in the playoffs last year, and wondering if that's going to get getting the same treatment. So I was kind of surprised yesterday when I saw that tweet. I'm sure you saw it as well from Joe Musgrove, wondering if Brian Kenny was going to have anything to say about Max Scherzer. That was kind of spicy. What was your reaction to it?
I'm not gonna lie. I immediately started to quote tweet it and look for Brian Kenny's Twitter handle, but he doesn't have it.
He does not have one.
I was going to quote tweet it and ask the same question. I could not find one. So I assume he doesn't have it. Listen, I thought Joe was well within his rights to challenge it, because where is that conversation at? Now, I didn't watch Brian's show yesterday. I didn't get a chance to, so I don't know if he actually spoke on it or not. But it would have been the right thing to do, considering how he tried to, I thought took a shot at Joe's, integrity yesterday or in that situation. So, I thought he was well with his right. Now, in terms of Scherzer, I really have an issue with this whole how they're policing us. Like, it just feels very vague on how they determine what's sticky, what substance is being used. It's just basically the umpires feel, and I just have an issue with that. I just feel like it's too ambiguous, and I think Major League Baseball has to figure something out because, in Japan they're using a tacky ball. There's not a need for rosin because the ball comes out the package tacky. Major League Baseball's got to find some way to kind of do something along those lines so we don't keep having these situations. Because listen, I've been in these games before, and I do know sweat and rosin over a long period of time, it becomes tacky. You get more stick, which is why the pitchers use it so much. And that's not to say that I know for a fact that Max Scherzer wasn't using anything else, but I've competed against that guy, played with him for a short period of time. He doesn't strike me as someone that is out there trying to cheat the game. And so I just think they got to figure out a better way to go about this, because it just seems it's a discretionary call depending on the umpire. And in this case, it's been Phil Cuzzi all 3 times that has been at the front of these ejections. So I don't know.
Man just doesn't like sticky things.
He's the Columbo of Major League Baseball, dude.
He's literally the only one throwing people out because of it.
It's incredible.
By the way, very timely guest this afternoon on Gwynn and Chris, Joe Musgrove will be with them for
beautiful.
their Friday.
Oh, I'm so
ahead of his
jealous.
first start of the season tomorrow.
That's beautiful. I wanted to ask you, Tony, again, you've talked to enough hitters, you won yourself. The guys don't mind if they're using something to get a little grip. Those balls are like, cue balls essentially, sometimes when they're brand new. And did you ever, you don't have to name names or anything, but did you ever get in the box and go, that's not legit. I've seen sliders, and that was a little bit too much. Were they doing that stuff when you played?
Now, listen, it's gone to a whole nother. It had gone to a whole nother level after I quit playing with the Spider Tech, and that's like industrial stuff.
Yeah,
now,
it's nasty.
what guys used to do, and I had teammates that used to take that sunscreen and that rosin and that mix alone. I mean, you put your hand on somebody's forearm, because that's where they used to put it. They used to put all over their arms, so that they could just touch their arm and they get the tack they needed. That was the extent of it when I was playing, and it was pretty sticky at that point. I've never actually touched this Spider Tech stuff,
I have,
but I heard it's pretty ridiculous.
You can't get it off your hands like at all. I mean, I saw Trevor Bauer literally loading it into his glove, and you saw what he was able to do with his spins and all that. Garrett Cole's another one, could spin it like nobody's business. And the Astros, every Astro was using it, and before guys caught on.
I just think that there needs to be like a seminar with pitchers and catchers, so there's an understanding of how this stuff works. I'm not sure that the umpires really understand, because what I do know is you can get that stuff on your hands and you use alcohol to try to get off, and it may come off initially, but it comes back. Your hands go back to being tacky shortly thereafter. So I know Max said he washed his hands with alcohol in front of the thing, but as that stuff dries, that tackiness, a lot of times, unless you are in there like really scrubbing, which I don't think he had time to really do, it comes back. And so I just think there needs to be a more of an educational type thing for both parties. So there's an understanding of exactly how it works, and maybe you can police it a little bit better at that point.
I think I saw CJ Wilson said that. He was saying
it's like a dried soda or something.
Basically saying, like, with the umpires saying, go wash this off in front of us with alcohol, like, he was doomed from the start because it was only going to get sticky.
But then the guys we talked to, Paulie, said that they use alcohol and hand sanitizer to clean off whatever tack they're using as they're walking off before they get checked, because it will remove it.
Right.
It will also remove it. So you're kind of in a lose-lose situation.
I mean, don't we all have signs in our bathrooms at work? You need to sing the happy birthday song twice. Washing with
20
soap.
seconds.
There's no doubt about it, man. It gets to like a lot of things in baseball sometimes, Tony, where you it just kind of weighs down the game a little bit, and
Yeah.
it's a talking point for us certainly, and it's fun to make fun of Buck Showalter and Max Scherzer after what they did to Joe, but it does really it screws up the game a little bit. So I wish they could figure it out.
We're here's the thing is it's great for us, right? Because it gives us a few segments to kind of work through it, but ultimately people are paying money to come watch players like Max Scherzer get on the mound and pitch.
Yep.
And now with these games being a little bit faster, like you really want to see these guys. So, I just think, listen, on one end, players just inevitably are going to do what they do to try to get an edge. But I also think that we just have to do a better job of finding out what's actually an edge and what is just window dressing. Clearly, Spider Tech was an edge. We saw the numbers offensively plummet during that time. It's going to be slow to get them back up because there's so many different things with these rule changes that I think I've noticed that are going to take some time. The numbers are still down offensively a little bit, but I think you got to remember, guys offensively had to change the way they thought about hitting, right? It used to be, ball up the middle, hard up the middle, work your way up the middle. That's a good thing. But now, before this year, the shift was there, so you couldn't hit a ball up the middle, especially on the ground. It was going to be an out. And so now guys are going to have to relearn the foundational parts of hitting, and that's just not going to happen in the middle of the season. I mean, guys dedicated multiple off seasons to launch angle and trying to get balls in the air. They're not going to just be able to unravel that in a matter of a few months. So I'm encouraged by what we've seen so far this year. This is just another element that Major League Baseball is going to have to try to tackle at some point.
Well, Tony, we certainly appreciate your time. You're on one of the more eclectic road trips you're ever going to find in Major League Baseball.
No kidding,
Arizona,
right?
warm desert, then Chicago in April, which could have no idea what the weather forecast is. Could be 30, could be whatever. And then Mexico City at 7,500 feet of altitude for 2 games. So that's quite the trip you guys are on.
Have you guys checked the dimensions of Mexico City yet?
No.
This could be 325 down the line, 400 the center. It could be a hit nest in that joint. But no, this is a cool trip. Going from Arizona to Chicago, obviously the temperatures could be vastly different. But then getting a chance to go to Mexico City and bring the games to Mexico and have the Giants and the Padres there, I think it'll be pretty cool for everybody involved.
Well, looking forward to it, and we'll see you when you get back, man. Thank you for your time.
No problem, guys. You got to take care.
Appreciate
Tony
it.
Gwynn Jr., radio analyst for the San Diego Padres and host of Gwynn and Chris here on 97.3 The Fan on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads.
I do love talking hitting with Tony Gwynn Jr., man. I really, really do. It's such an eye-opener for me. And again, I said it earlier in the week.
Breaking news.
He's one of the only guys that never says
More breaking news.
Baseball fan enjoys talking
hitting
with a Gwynn.
Yeah, with one of the Gwynns.
Fair enough.
He's never like, no, you don't know, and I do. And I love his perspective. I really, really do. It's great.
Eric, I see you. You hung on. So you will be first up when we come back. If you want to join him, we have our phone lines are open again. 833-288-0973 going to Flubs and 10 o'clock here with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. We'll be back after a check of traffic. The Odyssey app lets you jump back to the moments you missed on 97.3 The Fan. What would you say would be the moment you jump back to today on the show? We've had some good moments.
Put me on the
AJ
spot.
Preller was a really good
was
interview.
good.
We could jump back to AJ's interview at 8
Your
o'clock.
camera, by the way. Nope.
Just go ahead and talk while I do this.
No, this is better.
This is so much better.
This is better radio.
Didn't
Nope.
get it.
Why don't you just
Let's just
pick it, touch it,
use your
move it
hands.
over?
It needs to. There we go.
Oh my
See,
God.
you got to get it tracking in. How it works on our YouTube stream.
What would I jump back to? I don't know. What would you jump back to?
I would jump back to me talking about 6th grade president
Yes,
Ben Higgins.
your
My
and how
political career.
you
That was very short.
to eat lunch with the teachers in the teachers' lounge. That's one of my favorite lines I've ever heard. that
Anyway, you
came
can
from-
jump back whatever you want to listen to on 97.3 The Fan. Click on Listen on Demand on the Odyssey app, and then go back. We got you covered. Just tap earlier today, and you can get started with the different moments or interviews, guests, whatever segments, and go back. All right, Eric has held on for a while. I promised we would go to him. So, Eric, let's get out to the phone lines, and you are next up here on Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
Hi, Eric.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
I would jump back to maybe the optimistic energy that we started the show with. You know, we were pretty hyped.
That's how
but
most shows
before
start,
then-
and then they kind of tail off by the end.
It's very true.
Yeah.
Very true. Yeah, let's stay.
All right.
Let's
Yeah.
stay hyped.
Exactly. Yeah. And through the season. But yeah, my emotional well-being relies a little too much on a group of men wearing my city's uniform for 162 days out of the year.
Yeah, they want to talk
And,
about sustainability. You know, is what Peter Seidler and AJ Preller are doing sustainable? Is the way that we're living with these Padre games right now sustainable? I don't think it is, but I'm not going to not watch. I'm not going to not watch. Is it, you know, do I need to have a whiskey before every game? I don't really want to develop that habit either. So it has been more intense this year, Eric, for me personally, like live and die feeling already 21 games in the season. That's not how I usually am. Last year, I was a big enjoy the ride, like Jimmy Buffett. Let's relax, have a margarita and a cheeseburger in paradise, and just watch the boys and trust that they're going to figure it out.
I think, Eric, that it's like once with the playoffs and the long run in the playoffs, because the Padres have been to the playoffs a couple of times here in the last 20 years, but a run of how many games did they end up playing? Let's see, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, like 12 playoff games. I can't get out of that mode.
I know.
Where every at bat feels critical and like, oh, they didn't score in the top of the first. Now they're behind the 8 ball.
Or if they give up 2, you're like,
Yeah,
this is over.
You can't watch a regular season
You
that way.
can't.
You really, for perspective, you go, how do they do this week? Oh, 5-2, really good week. Or 3-4, oh, not a great week.
Yeah, they'll figure it out.
You can't watch a 162 game season like every inning is a playoff game.
But we are.
But it's hard to stop. I can't get myself out of that mode.
I can't either.
And
I can't.
I don't know what to tell everybody if I can't do it. And I'm pretty level-headed.
You're
when it
very
comes to these
level-headed.
things. And I sit down and I watch the game and I start getting nervous and excited and the dread in your stomach when they get down and the excitement when they get runners on, and you got to cash in here. If they don't cash in here, all is lost. No, I
know.
All is never lost in April of a baseball season.
You guys remember my tweet I sent last year and said, hey, I say this with peace and love, but some of you MFers aren't going to make it. Relax. Let the game come to you. It's going to be fine. I should take my own advice right now because I don't feel that way. And my kids and my wife will tell you that I am a lunatic at home. I've always kind of been, but it's bad, man. I don't know the solution to it. You know what is a nice help? Ripping off like 12 wins in a row would probably do a lot to calm all of our collective nerves.
The Atlanta Braves, when the Padres beat them 1-0, my guess would be that with an 8-game winning streak, you can probably shake that off pretty quickly.
Yes.
They're probably not or weren't in Atlanta on Monday morning panicking about the team's offense. Like, what happened to this team?
Correct.
We're hitting so well, and all of a sudden we got shut out by Nick Martinez.
Right.
What's going on here? That's unacceptable. This team has got to be better. You win 8 in a row and you lose that 9th one.
You go,
just go,
oh, well.
It had to end some point.
Yeah.
It had to end
Had to
sometime.
end
You
some
can't win
point.
every game. It's baseball.
So I think that the thing that we all need, the prescription, go to CVS.
This will be Thursday morning that you got up for that show in Atlanta, not Monday.
Right.
Yeah.
But the prescription for it is nice. And I'll say it, we've won 2 in a row. I think I need 6 more wins in a row to feel like, okay. And you got through kind of a bit of a gauntlet in your schedule, and you played a ton of games in a ton of days. You do have some off days coming up. Maybe that will be a chance for everyone to collectively breathe a sigh of relief. But I'm with you. I can't get out of that mode of watching like I was watching against the Dodgers and the Phillies and the Mets. Just a total wreck every game. And I'll be there tonight.
Eric, appreciate it. We're at the bottom of the hour, so we got to go. I'm sorry if I shortchanged you because you held on really long, but we do appreciate it. We got one segment left. We'll get to some flubs of the week to wrap things up. We have a new one from Paulie this week that was
it's fantastic.
delightful.
It's
If you
really
didn't hear it,
delightful.
you can catch that on our flubs of the week as we wrap things up and look ahead to game 2 of tonight's series against the Arizona Diamondbacks next with Ben and Woods.
Must-win game, apparently.
Yeah, absolutely. Going up against their ace.
I mean,
this is huge.
This is it.
Season is on the line tonight in Phoenix.
Get to 500 or don't. I don't know what to tell you.
On 97.3 The Fan. This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by CalHope. For free mental health help, visit calhope.org. CalHope can help. Access CalHope's free and secure mental health resources today. Call 833-317-4673 or live chat at calhope.org.
So he doesn't want me to do it, but I tried to get it out of him earlier, and then AJ Preller jumped on. I do want to hear about Paul's basketball last night.
He's not hiding anything.
We'll make that the Reindl report, because Paulie said we got all these guests. I didn't really put together a Reindl report.
Can you imagine doing a Reindl report of just your personal stats from your San Diego adult basketball
You're about to do
league?
it next, actually.
So happy.
After this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
Oh, I need all the audio that goes with it, please. Thank you.
From the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
Getting reports of a possible encampment fire near the Pershing Drive on-ramp to northbound 5. Watch out for a little activity there. Also, collision on westbound 56 past Camino del Sur. Couple vehicles involved. It's got the fast lane blocked. Tow truck is on scene assisting with that. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So happy. From Seattle, Washington, power forward, would you say?
Yeah.
Power forward. What's your number? 32?
32.
Moderately powerful forward. Let's not go crazy here.
Big talk coming from Ben Higgins.
All right, so Paulie he had the itch to get back and play some competitive basketball again. I greatly admire Weekend Warriors. I was one for many, many years, and I love it, and it drives people crazy when you talk about it too. So that's another reason why I want to do it.
I can hear the radios turning off.
I can hear
right
people
now.
rolling their eyes. But no, he had his first game back last night. I talked to him before the game, and I was like, what do you expect in this league? What's the league? I want to know all about it. So
it's SDABL,
which is crazy because that's what our baseball league was called too.
Baseball, basketball. It starts with the same letter.
Same letter.
How about that?
Yep.
Yeah. So it was our first game of the year last year. We've played. We have 8 guys on the team,
Yep.
and
8-man rotation.
We've gotten like 6, I think is the most we've had at a pickup game,
right?
Just meeting at a gym. So it was our first time all playing together, and I knew a couple of guys. The rest we were all strangers. So that was definitely going against us. We had a 1-point deficit at the half.
Okay. And how long are the halves?
20-minute halves.
20-minute
running clock.
God bless. Dead.
Yeah.
I'd be dead man. 20-minute half, you're down 1.
Down 1. The other team they were good. I don't know. We're in the lowest level. We're in the D League. I don't know.
Do you have to win to move up, like soccer promotion? If you win the D League, you move up.
You
to
just
the
sign up
league.
for it.
Like 7 or 8 years ago, I played down at Muni, down near downtown San Diego, and like, dude, A League and B League. Those are like
hoopers.
Guys that could have played in G League.
Yeah.
Or like definitely played like D1 somewhere.
Like, I'm good.
Yeah. No.
I'm good.
And so the other team had one guy that was like 6'7" and probably played college ball somewhere. Like he was unstoppable. He could literally.
Why is he playing in the D League then?
I was asking myself that the entire time last night.
Did you have to guard him?
A couple times. Yeah. I was guarding him. Our boy Alex was guarding him a lot, but he was just, you could tell he could shoot, he could run, he was in good shape, he was tall, he could dunk, he could do everything.
He could dunk?
Oh yeah.
I know my brothers played like pickup games where like Luke Walton or Richard Jefferson has shown up. It's like,
oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
That's not fair.
Richard Jefferson and Luke Walton out there.
Yeah.
I'd have the Carter limp. My knee is killing me. God, it's throbbing. Does anybody have any Advil? No, I'll sit this one out. You guys run. All right. So what was the official Reindl stat line? Did you get that single in you?
Yeah. Single. I mean, double's hard in 20 minutes
Hell
running
yeah,
clock.
it is.
But I think I had 4 points. I only threw up like 5 shots.
All right. So 2 out of 5 buckets.
Yeah.
40% from the field.
Yeah,
That's not bad.
They played really tight defense. It was you'd get the ball and you're like, it was impossible to create a shot.
I would soil myself. You watch me out there.
It was tough. I probably had 8 or 9 rebounds.
Okay,
though,
that's
and
good.
A couple assists.
That's
Like
good.
we all played okay for
But you
our
got
first time.
bodied in the second half because of the
Yeah,
conditioning.
we lost by 13. We lost by 13. We didn't score for like 7 minutes to start the second half.
That
They
Aztec D.
Yeah, they came out. You could see they were just blowing past us all the way down court towards the end of that game. They just had better energy.
I
and
can't get
fresher
a
legs.
double shooting hoops by myself out of just me in the street. I can't get a double.
I mean, I get a lot of rebounds because I don't make any of the shots.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
14 rebounds, no points.
See, that's the thing. All
Shooting
my
by myself in the
all my
driveway.
rebounds were defensive rebounds, so it's not like I was able to just get bored and go right back up
Yeah.
with it. Like I just
You had that big behemoth on you.
no kidding.
Oh, I love it.
I mean,
I'm
dude,
so
it was-
happy for you.
It was fun, man. It's my favorite form of cardio.
Yeah,
I
of
mean, you could-
course.
I could run 4, 5, 6 games and just be completely exhausted, drenched in sweat, but it doesn't feel like you worked. Like it was fun. And a couple months ago, I said, all right, I got to make some changes.
Yeah, got to make some
Gotta get
changes
back.
in life.
I want to get back out on the court rather than like for so long I was working out and trying to work out and exercise and run and to lose weight to then start playing basketball.
Yeah.
And it wasn't happening, obviously. So I just said, I'm just
gonna play.
dive into it. And I'm down
I said
like
the
15 pounds since that decision. So I'm feeling really good about it.
I said the words that my wife did not want to hear last night. When I came home from T-ball practice, I said to her, just so you know, I've got the itch again. And she goes, oh no. She knew exactly what it meant. Not crabs or anything.
Not that itch.
Not the different itch, Ben. the baseball itch, bad. It's bad. I haven't been going to hit golf balls or anything.
Well, the reason why is that you haven't been playing that well in golf.
No.
And you're feeling like I need to do
I made a
something
bad
like have
choice.
some success
No, and
out again.
I'm still happy about playing golf and I still enjoy it, but I have the itch from being Bo wants grounders every night and he wants to hit off the tee every day and he wants to throw and it's
baseball season.
It's baseball season. I'm back in the game and now I'm like, all right, how do I manage this? So I'm considering coming out of retirement.
Well, Paulie, you should be careful because if you do want to take one of these days off, you might get lit up by the host on before us on CBS Sports Radio, DA Show. He likes to light up ex-Aztecs who don't show up for games. He had a hot take on Kawhi Leonard not playing in Game 3 of the Clippers series last night against the Phoenix Suns. I mean, I get it. Kawhi has been very careful with his body over the year and has missed a lot of games, load management, whatever you want to call it. And now you get to the postseason and played really well in the first 2 games. And the Clippers, needed him last night. They lost by 5 despite really great performances by Lincoln High's Norman Powell, and Russ had 30 in a good game as well.
So what did DA say?
He basically said if the injury, whatever the knee injury that kept him out of the game, and he was a late scratch. I mean, no one kind of warned anybody that Kawhi wasn't going to play last night. It happened in Game 1, which was the rumor late in Game 1. He played in Game 2. You got to find a way out on the floor to help your teammates in Game 3, even if you're not 100%. The time for load management is long over. This is the playoffs, and if you're not stepping up in the postseason, you're letting your team down. It all sounds very logical. I mean, DA is a logical guy. I think he's a good sports talk radio host. The problem is you can never call out a player who doesn't play for injury,
right?
Because you can never feel what they're feeling. You
Correct.
can't get inside their body and know if they truly could go or not. There's a point where any player, no matter how good they are, even Michael Jordan had games where he couldn't play, and you just know if I go out there, I'm hurting my team. I can't move. I can't be effective. I can't do what I normally do. We're better off, even though my backup may be half the player that I am, we're better off with them out there. Who am I as a talk show host, who is DA, to make that decision or that call for Kawhi and the Clippers?
Is it a symptom, though, of Kawhi at 50% is better than, I mean, again, you can't tell a guy can't run if you can't run,
Yeah, I mean, does it feel like the Clippers, they lost by 5 in a critical, first home game of the series. It's tied 1-1. I can see why you think Kawhi must have been worth 5.5 points, to get him over the top.
It's one of those
game.
guys that's so good, though, Ben. It's the threat of him being there does something, right? Does something to the other team. I don't know. I mean, to hear before the game, oh, Kawhi's not playing.
Yeah.
Well, that's a nice little lift for us tonight, right? Like, and the Suns went off last night as well, and so I don't know.
The Clippers, to their credit, have not said word one. Ty Lue has always been supportive all year long. In San Antonio, obviously, Greg Popovich, it came to heads. They wanted Kawhi on the floor. He didn't feel like he was ready. They moved on. They sent him to Toronto. He won another championship. He moved on. Toronto just fired their coach this morning, Nick Nurse. Now he's in Los Angeles, and the same thing is happening. I don't know. I mean, some guys just have trouble staying healthy, and that's not necessarily their fault. And I just can't tell you whether Kawhi should have been playing or not, and neither can DA or anybody else really, other than Kawhi Leonard.
It's really the only guy that can tell you is if he can play or not is Kawhi Leonard. So you kind of have to take them at their word. Do you think that Kawhi Leonard wants to miss a playoff game?
No,
and that's the logic I feel is missing a lot of times. Do you feel like Kawhi Leonard is soft? No, I don't think that. Do you think he's not a hard worker? I don't think that either. So I think the logic that you miss is, why would anybody willingly sit out a playoff
now,
game?
If you're a GM and if Kawhi was a free agent and you're deciding whether or not to sign him, you do have to factor in his availability and durability. You go, I love his game. I don't know that I can count on him. But when he's on your team, all you can do is say, do what you can do to get out on the floor. And if you can't, then we'll do the best we can without you. For the Clippers, though, they're playing really well in this series. They're doing it without Paul George and now Kawhi Leonard in game 3. You feel like they could have pulled off a major upset. Now you wonder, could it still happen against, Kevin Durant, a good Phoenix team? But they've been going toe to toe and, could easily be up in this series.
Yeah,
they got to win at home in game 4 to even it up.
It's a bummer. You don't ever want people questioning your heart and your toughness and all that. And that's exactly what, again, it's DA's job to have a take about it, certainly. But hey, man, you should be out there. Well, you're not in my.
It's also Kawhi Leonard's job to not have rabbit ears and think, I got to get out there then.
Yeah,
because if he's not ready and he goes out there and tries,
it hurts
and
himself
gets hurt,
even worse. Yeah, 100%, man. 100%.
All right, tonight it is game 2 of the series in Arizona. Seth Lugo. Do you feel like you're pitching for your spot in the rotation if you're guys like Lugo and Martinez every time you go out there? A little bit, sure.
Yeah, I mean, and what's working against Seth Lugo is he was really good out of the bullpen for the Mets. Like really, really good. They would kill to have Seth Lugo back. He is absolutely pitching for a spot in the starting rotation. I don't think there's any question. I don't know that they're going to come out and say it, but yeah, I mean,
Martinez made his statement earlier this week.
He did.
Now Lugo gets a chance to respond and make his statement tonight.
100%
against Zach Gallen, the ace of the staff for the Diamondbacks. Not untouchable, but certainly a very good pitcher.
Fernando's got good numbers off of Zach Gallen in his career, so gets his first knock tonight for sure.
I would think the way he was swinging, it's sooner rather than later. I'll never guarantee anything in baseball, but feels like it's coming sooner rather than later.
Yep. And I mean, I think it there's a lot of guys that need to get it right offensively, but hey, listen, you get performances like you did last night. You will have to think about, though, no Brent Honeywell tonight, probably no Josh Hader. So Steven Wilson pitched just 1 inning. He should be available. But yeah, in a tight game at the end, who you go with? Steven Wilson's my guy right now.
Yeah, but if they need a setup guy in the 8th, I'm okay with is Tapia back yet?
No,
he's still not.
They got Ray Kerr. Ray Kerr's out there. We haven't seen him yet. I mean,
I don't want him in the 8th though.
So you got basically Garcia.
Yeah, Garcia didn't. He warmed up, but he never got in last night.
You got Garcia and Wilson at the back end of the bullpen. So you should be. You're gonna need a good start from Seth Lugo, though.
6:40 first pitch, 5:40. Sam Levitt with the pregame show here on 97.3.
Got it.
The Fan, and that brings us to the end of the week, and that means some flubs before we get out of here. Sit down at a California-style blackjack table or play some Texas Hold'em poker. Book a solar battery installation. Book a solar battery
installation. Tatis has paid the big bucks to be our sharding. Damn it. Sharding. I have done it again.
I haven't heard much. The organization, Bob Melvin.
Who is Bob Miller?
Because Penske Lincoln's Dong Days of Summer sales event is on right now.
With Benny and Call, a public safety power shutoff.
The meteorologist at STNG. I'm in trouble too.
The ump show is starting in 4 minutes.
Let's
go,
Stu
babe.
Sherwater's behind the dish.
Come on.
The dish. And of course, San Diego State taking on number 14 Yuha on Yuha. Ring it.
All right, we'll play this audio for you.
Guys.
Gnarly.
It's gnarly.
Out of St. Louis, California. First hour of Ben and Woods. Glad to have you with us on Wednesday morning.
Glad to have you with
there wherever we are. And both times, Austin Nolan drove in the one run.
Who is Austin Nola?
Browns, Bengals, Ravens, 3-2 teams in
Who are
that
the
division. Ballast Point Beer, the official craft beer of the San Diego Padres, at Ballast Point in Little India.
He's not 35,
but he will
that's
be
it.
before the
Vacations are
contract
very
is
hard
done.
for
What's a
them.
contract?
Holiday season is
Almost here.
30 days, half September.
And that is do this for a Wednesday.
Don't.
That's Africa 93 fan. He's got the fifth most wins coaching time. All coaching. Fifth most, yes. February 12th, State Glendale, Arizona. State Farm Stadium.
That's not what I heard.
It's not what I heard either.
First sound from Padres spring training 2013. I think that a veteran pitcher is having success with those numbers. 6-year history of Major League Rugby.
What is rugby?
Sam Spring Tank, San Diego's #1 sports station. 93 The Fan.
He's talking about Landon Jonovan.
Who is Landon
All
Jonovan?
right, back after a check of traffic here on 91.37 The Fan. Almost the entire 97.3 The Crew is coming out.
And then, of course, Joe Darvish and the kettlebell on the toe. Paul Reindl. It's our executive producer, YouTube director.
What's the director?
He's a director.
The Sockers, they haven't lost the season all home. So you need you out there.
That's all, folks.
That was our newest one. No one caught it except for me.
Then he did.
Paulie, the Sockers haven't lost at season
All home. That's so good.
Now they need 2 wins at season tonight at home.
They do.
To survive and advance in the playoffs.
2 more
at the
homes
Chunger.
at season tonight for sure. The home is over. Holy cow.
How many times can I mess up the name of this radio station? No, you get it when when we first moved over.
Yeah, you say the mighty.
You got a different
97.3.
lockout in your hand. It's San Diego Sports Leader 97.3 The Fan. It's hard. We've been here several years now. It should roll off my tongue fairly easily.
93 Fan. It's just incredible. Or spring training 2013.
That one kills me.
So good.
Those are nonsense. St. Louis, California,
St.
here
Louis,
in
California,
Dallas.
here in Dallas.
Nonsensical.
Little India.
I couldn't even
Little India.
explain what's going on in my head. Sometimes I could say, well, I was trying to think about this other thing, and they got mixed together as things get jumbled. Got no idea. I got no explanation for you.
2013. 10 years behind. He's stuck 10 years ago. Holy smokes.
All right.
Good week, boys.
Yeah, we
Lot of
got
fun.
should be a good weekend watching some Padres baseball. You got a Seals game.
Seals game tomorrow night at
night
Pechanga Arena,
as
San Diego,
well, so-
taking on the Desert Dogs. Get your tickets at sealslax.com. Let's get rowdy.
And then we will be back Monday morning to break down the weekend. The Padres are off on Monday. And then they've got a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday series at Wrigley Field.
Old friend
Then
Eric
they're off
Hosmer.
on Friday, which is very rare. And then Saturday, Sunday next weekend in Mexico City against the San Francisco Giants.
It's going to be amazing. Can't wait to see that. Gosh, we were going.
By the way, Cubs off to a really good start, too,
Yeah.
as are the Diamondbacks.
Here we go again. Here we go again.
Facing every team that's getting off to a hot start right there on the Padres schedule this
Get them
year.
out of the way.
All right, Coach John Quintero, Braden coming up next. For Paul Reindl, our executive producer and director, and Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins. Have a great weekend from all of us here at San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.